Hello my loves, what's up, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a new pick a card reading, and this one is all about what you do not know about yourself and what you do not know, what you need to be aware of, that Spirit wants to tell you, that Spirit wants you to be aware of. So this video is going to be transformative. We're going to try to get as deep messages as possible, and any message that you hear today, I ask Spirit to come through to give messages for our highest good at this time. So this is something that maybe we should be aware of, or something that, you know, will help us along our journey. So hopefully we get some good insight here and all that kind of stuff with all the good intentions. So with that being said, if you are new to pick a card readings, I'm going to give you a quick little rundown of how they work. So over here we have pile number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So you can take a moment, pause the video if you'd like, to find the pile that you are the most drawn towards. Then once you're done choosing your pile, you can then scroll down to the comment box or the description box to find the timestamp that is linked to your specific card. And then you can skip ahead and watch your personal reading all about what you do not know, what you're not aware of, that Spirit wants you to be aware of. So with that being said, if you like to choose with crystals on these cards, then let's go ahead and pop some crystals on these cards. All right, my loves, if you like to choose with crystals, then here are our crystal options. Over here on group number 1, we have some aqua aura quartz. Then over here on group number 2, we have some aragonite. And then over here on group number 3, we have some citrine. And then over here on group number 4, we have some bismuth. And then over here on group number 5, we have some amethyst. So again, take a moment to pause the video if you'd like to find the pile that you are the most drawn towards. Then once you're done choosing your pile, you can then scroll down to the comment box or the description box to find that timestamp that is linked to your particular card, and then you can skip ahead and watch your personal reading all about what you do not know about yourself and what you do not know that Spirit wants you to be aware of. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into today's video. All right, so group number 1, if you chose this pile, then this is going to be a reading, so let's hop right into it. So group number 1, we have some clear messages coming through for you. We start off with the 2 of Swords, and then we have the Sun card, the King of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, 6 of Wands, and then we have the 6 of Pentacles being reversed, and then we have the Knight of Swords upright. So big messages. First off, let's start off talking about this 2 of Swords here. So what Spirit really wants you to be aware of is that you are possibly, and Spirit wants you to know that this is for your highest good at this time. So these are all messages that are meant to help you and assist you along your journey. And essentially this 2 of Swords over here indicates that we might be closing off part of ourselves, and the parts of yourself that you are closing off, that you are either shy of or insecure about, are actually part of your light. Whenever we close ourselves off slightly, you see how she's like kind of getting a little bit defensive. She has these like swords in front of her. She's in protection mode. So there's certain things where you are overprotective of yourself or your feelings, or even other people's feelings too, you know, not speaking your truth, for example, because we might be scared of the reactions and we don't want to deal with, you know, people's reactions to us. So we end up kind of like holding back. So there's certain areas of yourself and your truth and your authenticity that you are holding back or protecting or hiding or insecure about, or all the above, that you are closing off, and it's closing off some of your light. It's almost like, you know, when you have the sun shining, but then there's some clouds and then it doesn't get as bright and it sort of gets gloomy. That is what you are kind of doing to your energy by shutting off part of yourself, right? Because as we can look at this card, these swords are sort of like she could be this full rainbow. She could be this full rainbow emitting so much light, but it's like you're shutting off certain parts of yourselves, and then it's kind of like, you know, the rainbows don't get to exist over here, over here, over here. Like you could be just a full shining, gleaming, you know, the Sun card. You could be shining your full light. And if you did, what Spirit wants you to know is you would reach more success than you probably could imagine for yourself in this moment. Part of shutting off that light is kind of keeping you from certain successes because you're closing off part of your energy. And Spirit also wants you to know that they understand why you're in this space. They know, they understand that, and it's part of your learning. So don't even feel bad for being in this space either. And don't be hard on yourself for, being in this space and things like that. Spirit does not want you to be hard on yourself for this, because they're like, okay, we get it. We absolutely get it. And this is all part of your journey, your development, because without going through certain things, we're never going to realize, or have awareness of what we need to become or step into, right? It's the same thing like when you're a kid and you learn that the stove is hot, don't touch it, right? So we kind of need to learn certain lessons by going through certain experiences to learn, and have awareness on certain things. So this is all part of your journey, and Spirit is actually like, oh, yay, we're happy that you're in the space that you're in, because this is where you are learning and bringing awareness to these aspects of yourself. But Spirit is like, okay, well, you're entering the phase of your life where you're going to notice that these things start popping up. So you might even have certain awarenesses that have been coming up lately where maybe you're noticing that, hey, I feel like I can't really speak my truth in this moment, and it might feel a little bit uncomfortable or awkward, and it might be a little bit difficult. It might feel like a difficult situation, or not wanting to shed your light fully, not wanting to open your heart, for example, being scared of being open and authentic and things like that. It can feel comfortable when we just decide to take a back seat and not speak our truth and not be our full authentic self. It can feel comfortable to be that way, because then we're not stepping on other people's toes, and we're not, having to put all of our light out there, because it can feel intense. But I think that you're noticing that it feels uncomfortable to also be overprotective of yourself and other people. It's getting uncomfortable to hide your authenticity, and you're going to notice that popping up in certain times. And Spirit wants you to know that you are going on this journey to learn how to be this sun card where you're fully open, fully authentic, and it's going to cause you to become very confident. As you begin to open up, you're going to step into the King of Wands rather than being this Two of Swords energy. You're going to step into full light. And if you do step into this full authenticity, and we can express our truth with light and love, right? We don't have to express it in a way that's, super harsh. For example, we don't need to sugarcoat things either. But there's different ways of expressing yourself where you can stick to your authenticity, but you don't need to be like, a hurtful, mean person either. You know what I mean? Because a lot of us sort of kind of maybe fear being authentic sometimes because we're scared of hurting people, and we're scared of coming across mean or something like that. But there's different ways of expressing, and Spirit wants you to know that you're on the learning process of now learning how to express yourself to, honor your authenticity. And this is going to allow you to really step into your confidence and your power. This is going to help you manifest so much more. This lizard here, lizards can talk about manifestation, and they can be signs and symbols of manifestation coming into your life. So this is you stepping into your authenticity, you stepping into your full light, and starting to honor your truth, and starting to open your heart and know that you are strong enough. You don't need to protect yourself out of fear of getting hurt, because you can just step into your power and know that you are strong enough to go into things, being that full power of your persona, and being strong enough to honor your emotions and not have to worry about hurting yourself or hurting other people. Because again, there's certain ways and aspects of expressing things that can allow you to still remain authentic in your truth and still full of love in your heart and your soul, without needing to be overly cautious for yourself and others. Because when we're overly cautious, we tend to start blocking ourselves, rather than just knowing like, hey, I understand that I can't just, be mean and step on people's toes. I need to be respectful, but also honor myself, right? So right now we're kind of learning that balance, and you are learning that balance right now. And Spirit really wants you to know and congratulates you for being on this journey right now and being where you are, because you are about to step more into more light, more authenticity. than you ever have before, as long as you continue this journey of awakening this awareness. The Sun card is all about awakening and that awareness and things like that. I also think that what Spirit wants you to know is once you have this confidence, once you start accepting and speaking your truth and coming from a place of authenticity and that powerful place of being able to honor yourself without fear, right? Once you step into that, you're going to start to realize your inner worth. Knight of Pentacles is about inner worth, but it's also about kind of beginning a journey that we might not have begun before, before stepping into your power. I used to back in the day, like, cut out every time that I would like hiccup or burp or anything like that in these videos, but I always like eat my my food like right before these videos, and it's just not worth cutting it out anymore. So excuse me if I'm making bodily noises over here. But anyway, see, it's just stepping into your authenticity, your power, just like I started doing with these videos without needing to like cut them at certain places in order to, whatever. But anyway, stepping into your power, honoring yourself, honoring your worth, you're going to start to realize that you are worth so much more. And this looks like you're going to be going towards a big goal that maybe you would have been fearful of in the past. There might be a goal that you're currently fearful of stepping into, or maybe you don't feel worthy enough for it, or maybe you feel like, oh, it's too late, I can't start that now. There could be all sorts of different reasons that you're closing yourself off from a certain goal. But once you kind of step into this, all of a sudden this goal is going to feel almost easy to you. It's almost going to feel easy and natural for you to just step into it and actually achieve it. It looks like you would be achieving so much more by honoring yourself and stepping into that authenticity, because it looks like somehow things will be just aligning for you. And also this looks like a lot of people are going to begin to respect you as well. Again, as long as you come from a place of love, right? And not from a place of like harshness or anything like that. We need to be truthful, but also from a place of love, right? But it looks like, yeah, you'd be stepping into a place where it's almost like a lot of people sort of respect you and see you in a different way, and they see you as somebody who deserves honor and respect. You wouldn't have people that walk on you or walk all over you or take advantage of you in any ways, just because you would hold your power so much more, and others would be able to feel that and see that. And again, it does look like you would be attaining a big goal because you actually have the confidence to step into it more and more. There's a goal here where it's like this is an achievement of some kind, okay? We also have the Six of Pentacles being reversed, and this could be us being able to actually honor the give and take, being able to also ask for help when we need it. So this would allow you to begin to accept help and to step into the ability to ask for help when you need it. This would be massively shifting for you, because when we're able to actually do that, everything kind of becomes easier. And also, this is also another message for those of you who tend to rely a lot on other people, or tend to kind of maybe need other people to be around you or do something with you in order for you to feel confident doing it. For example, like, I don't know, going out to dinner alone or whatever, or, doing things on your own or whatnot, being more independent. You would step more into your independency and not really need or require others to kind of like be there with you in order for you to feel kind of like comfortable doing certain things. We also have the Knight of Swords here. So this looks like you'd be stepping more and more into the ability to just say what's on your mind right when it's on your mind, rather than holding back and holding back and holding back. It's kind of like you're able to really step into things. And also, anytime that you have a certain inspiration, you'd be able to just flow right into it, like jump right into it, because there's this sense of confidence that would be backing everything that you think about or do. You'd have this like foundation of confidence, and that would allow you to expand so much more. Like the amount of good cards that we have in this, like there is so many cards here that resemble success. And I think the only thing stopping you from success right now is actually yourself. And the discomforts that you have with certain things, the discomforts you have around being authentic and being real and being truthful. You know, not saying that you're not real, you're obviously very real. And, you know, you obviously have awareness over your emotions, and that's very real. But Spirit really wants you to begin to open up more, to be more authentic. And as you start to do that, you're going to start to realize that you have so much power and so much light within you, because as you let that light begin to shine, you're going to realize how powerful it's been this whole time. And a lot of the times we fester anxiety within us. Like if we hold back our light, group number one, and we tend to cut it off in certain ways, in certain areas, because we're scared of being open and authentic, that is your light, right? When we cover that up and we hold that back, that much light being stuck within you when it wants to be expressed, that's like energy that we're pushing down and pushing down. It's almost like, you know, taking like, I don't know, energy from anywhere and condensing it into a small space when it wants to like zap out. Like it's going to cause an explosion, or it's going to fester into kind of anxiety, which anxiety is basically just a lot of energy with no outlet, right? We're stopping the outlet, but there's a surge of energy happening. That's a real problem. Either we need to have methods of grounding ourselves and allowing outlets for that energy to outlet from us safely and properly, which is basically you just being open and authentic and being more real, which I know is tough. So trust me, you have my sympathy. And this is also part of life. This is part of like the learning process of life. I feel like all of us basically go through a moment like this, at least at one point of our lives, at least. So this is what you're sort of kind of facing and needing to be more aware of right now. And Spirit's basically saying like, yes, your intuitions are correct. You know, when you're feeling those discomforts around being inauthentic, or, you know, hiding your authenticity in certain ways, basically that's also Spirit sort of guiding you along, being like, yes, your authenticity does want to come out, and it is time to start, you know, moving more into that direction. So let's see, the next couple of cards that we have for you, we have the crowning, initiation, threshold, birth, rebirth, a seat at the table. So now it's time for you to start. This is almost a rebirth of you and also a birth, because it's about you finally coming out instead of holding stuff within. It's kind of like, I don't know why this image just came to my head. This is a really random image, but like, it's almost like being pregnant and like going into labor, and then you're just like holding it in. You're just like, no, I can't be, no, you know, and your baby's just growing more and more inside of you. And then it gets harder and harder to like birth a baby when they keep growing more and more. And it's just like, that's just getting bigger and worse. That's going to be awful to like, you know, I don't know why that image came to my head. But anyway, you know, it's time to just birth yourself. Just let yourself be born. Let your authenticity be born. It's time for a renewal of you, instead of like being your old self that would maybe hide stuff or be inauthentic or be scared to share their full light. Instead of being that way, let's have a rebirth and let's renew ourselves into like this full authenticity. And I feel like some of you guys have been feeling this for the past little bit. And here's your confirmation of Spirit being like, yes, you're on the right track with this. Ooh, and then we have the fertile void, like the fertile thing and the whole birthing thing that fits in well together. So inner winter, rest, patience, potency, secret beginning. So this is time for you to have this kind of beginning. I also get a message here that you're supposed to void out all of the old energy. It's really time for you to release it and let it go. And then make kind of like a promise to yourself, like, I'm going to begin being authentic. And when I notice I'm not being authentic, I'm going to try to add awareness to it so I can think of ways to invite in more authenticity. And be patient with yourself. You don't have to go from 0 to 100. That's very hard to do. That's basically impossible. Like, of course it's possible, but a lot of the times it's easier to change as we do gradual steps. So what Spirit wants you to know, it's like, it's really time to start gradually taking away, you know, the overprotectiveness. It's good to be, you know, protected, but the overprotectiveness is what we need to sort of begin to let our guard, you know, down with that and not hold our light back, not hold your authenticity back. So rest and rejuvenation will help you with that, but it's time for a beginning, you know. It is time for this beginning to occur. So with that being said, let's get into the next few cards that we have here. Let's see. We have follow the leader. So maybe this is about kind of like looking at other people who are able to express their authenticity and kind of seeing maybe how they do it and seeing which ones resonate with you and which ones do not. You know, what really resonates with you when people speak their truth? What feels good? What resonates? This could also be about, just having an inspiration to look up to along this journey. Having a goal that you want to reach and then just going down that pathway. This is also about you stepping up into your own leadership as well, because I think that we need to kind of let go of codependency, letting go of kind of like needing people, you know, but along the way, maybe we can have certain inspirations and then slowly begin to let go. It's kind of like having training wheels for a little bit and then we slowly begin to like let them go because we're more comfortable on our own. We also have the sacred pool. So this is time to just cleanse. This can also talk about having like a sacred space in order to kind of like really let your thoughts out on paper, because this can also really help, you know, release some of that anxiety and pent up energy that we haven't been fully authentic and open with. Just having a sacred space for yourself, maybe like a notebook or something, or maybe just a moment to like meditate, or just even when you're alone in your room, just speaking your authenticity, even if it's not directly to anybody, but being able to just speak it to let it out is also really therapeutic and helpful. But again, being able to practice being more open and authentic directly with others is kind of the goal here, because it's going to allow you to build up more like self-respect, and also to let your light shine more. And as it shines more, my love, you are stepping into your power. Look at this, and being able to take on goals that you never even thought were possible for you. Like, this is just so amazing right here. And the Sun card, this is just you beaming. I really see you being able to beam your full authentic light, and because of that, you're just really stepping into your power, more maturity than you've ever felt before, being able to take on projects and goals that, again, you would have never even dreamt of for yourself prior, because your self-worth will be increasing by so much. And there's a lot of success here to be realized, and a lot of respect from others here to also be realized. We also have protecting treasure. So this kind of reminds me of that protectiveness that you have. You're naturally a very protective person, which is good. You know, don't lose that part of yourself that wants to protect and help others and protect people's hearts and protect your own heart. That's good. But don't be overly protective to where you are not being authentic, because that's where it gets to be a problem. So we have to do it. We have to do it properly. Also, there's some little mushrooms here, the Amanita muscaria. Those are very significant. But yeah, we're not going to get into that right now. But basically, those are like secret treasures of the forest, and they have a lot of other significances, but that would kind of take a really long time to explain. But basically, this is you know, another way of looking at protection is looking at protecting your heart and your authenticity in a way where you honor it and allow it to be heard, because you're wanting to protect truth. You're wanting to protect authenticity in a way of honoring it and allowing it to be expressed rather than hindering it, because that's not protecting truth and authenticity. When we hide truth and authenticity, we do the opposite, and we are not honoring truth and authenticity at that point, right? The next couple cards that we have Angel of Balance, and there needs to be a balance. Again, we don't need to go full force into being so authentic that we're disrespecting others and that we're we don't need to be that. But this is about having a balance where we express ourselves, but we're also kind and courteous. So having that good balance and finding where that balance is going to be really important. We also have the 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron. So this is the third eye. And this is being able to see more clearly and be able to see truth and using your intuition on things. I think that being open and authentic is going to allow you to actually increase your intuitive and psychic gifts. you're going to be able to see and understand so much more. You're going to be able to open up your third eye much more to where you are seeing deeper into things, being able to understand deeper into things as you begin to open up. Because when we close ourselves off, we also close off our chakras. So there's certain chakras that are, being closed off because of this, because we're hiding our truth and our authenticity. We're not allowing ourselves to be seen. And so this ends up creating a lot of energetic blockages. And so I think that you're going to be beaming and a lot of your chakras are going to be awakened and unlocked. And this is going to kind of introduce a lot more intuition and psychic gifts into you. Ones that you already have, but they've been a little bit blocked because of the blocks that we've been creating. Okay, and then our last few cards. Ooh, right when we're talking about the third eye, the next card that we have is Mystic. So the light attribute, so when we honor all of this, reveals the intimate union with the divine. So you're going to be at an intimate, deeper union with the divine as long as you are more open and authentic, because then we're able to see and hear truth so much more as well, because we're not closed off. The shadow attribute, so when we are closing off our light and not being authentic, we have a delusional rapport with the divine, which makes sense, because if we are not honoring our authenticity and we're not speaking our truth, we're creating a delusion for others because we're not speaking our truth. Therefore, others are experiencing a bit of a delusion because they cannot see what we're really feeling unless we open it up and speak it, right? So if we honor authenticity, truth, and if we want to be able to perceive and see truth, we are going to need to be truth. Because if we're not being truth, we're creating delusion, therefore we're also seeing delusion. And that's all we can see. We're not going to be able to see truth until we are full truth. And Spirit wants you to know that you're going to be able to probably see so much more and gain deeper intuition because of it. And then we also have the card here of Gossip. So basically the light attribute. So when we honor our authenticity, it awakens considerations for the feelings of others, honoring trust. Oh, that fits in so well with this reading. I cannot even believe that this card came up. I mean, it just fits so well. But yeah, awakens considerations for the feelings of others, honoring trust. That's so powerful. On the flip side, when we are not being fully authentic and we are not opening up and we're closing ourselves off, this thrives on the power of passing on private or secret information, betraying confidences. So other people might have certain confidences in you and, trust you in certain ways, but when we're not being fully open and authentic, we might even not even realize certain areas of ourselves where we are not being honest and truthful. We might not even see that. We might not even see where we might be disrespecting others, because it is also, if we honor truth so much that we only want to hear truth, then we should only be respectful enough to give that to others. Otherwise, we are betraying their trust, right? We're going to be betraying their confidence in us. If we want to be, as respectful as possible, and if we respect truth to its highest degree, we need to be that as well. Otherwise, how else could we be? We also have the Liberator. Ooh, I'm excited to read what this one has to say. So again, the light attributes, if we are following our authenticity, we have freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs. That's powerful. Releasing negative thought patterns. This will help you release negative thought patterns, because a lot of the times when we withhold our truth, I'm also going to restart my camera. It's about to cut out, so before it does. Okay, we're back. Basically, if we withhold our truth and it's festering inside of us, it's creating that anxiety, of course, we're going to have negative thought patterns. Negative thought patterns are going to come up all over the place because we're not going to have trust for others. If we are not being fully authentic, we cannot perceive and see other people's authenticity either, whether they're giving it to us or not. If we are being our full authentic truth, we're going to be able to see. We're going to be able to see and detect dishonesty and untruth easier than ever. But when we're holding on to that and we're not being authentic and truthful ourselves, it's creating negativity within us, and we're going to be seeing more negativity externally because we have that within us. Everything external is always a reflection of the internal. Your perception of the external says so much about you. And again, it's not to be harsh on yourself. And, we all have certain things that we need to break through, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad for anything, nothing at all. We should never feel bad for who we are, because this is all part of the human learning experience, and we all go through this. So again, this isn't to like call you out in any way. This is so that you can rebirth into your best version of yourself, so that you can really be the best version of yourself, and you can release anxieties or negativities. This is why we're doing this reading, okay? So again, this is not to make you feel bad, and I don't want anyone here listening to this to take this information in any negative way, other than to allow them to birth into the best version of you, because that exists and it is underneath. And we just want to, add awareness to the things that might be blocking that. And of course, one thing I want to say is we always have things that we need to work through. So don't strive for perfection. You are already perfect, my love. You are already perfect. You are part of this beautiful human experience, along here with me, along here with everyone else on this planet. And we are all just, contributing to this great learning experience and just experience here on earth. So this is basically something that Spirit wants you to know, so that you can liberate to becoming the best version of you that you can be in this lifetime. Of course, we don't need to, again, strive for perfection, but here's just one of the things that Spirit wants to add awareness of what you're going through. So yes, the opposing side of this, when we're dishonoring our truth, we have imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, which makes sense, because if you want to liberate others, if you want to free yourself and others from outdated beliefs and release them from negative thought patterns, it's going to start with you being open and authentic. It is going to start with you being able to liberate yourself first before you're ever able to liberate others, right? So, and this also says on the flip side, ignoring legitimate constraints. So when we ignore certain aspects of ourselves, we ignore our light. Look she's even offering her light. Look at that. When we ignore our light and we withhold it within, and we're trying to help others, or we're trying to, first we need to help ourselves. The only way to help others is to first heal and help ourselves, right? And you have help to offer regardless of this or not. You have certain aspects of yourselves where you are going to be able to help others and be a light in your own regard at any point in time. But doing this work is going to allow you to expand to that even more, right? It's going to allow you to expand into your own light even more. And that's basically the big message that Spirit has for you today. Group number 1 is being able to honor yourself, because honoring ourselves is one of the best feeling things that we can do. And it liberates us on such a deep level. Liberate yourself so that you can begin to now liberate others from negativity. And this is also about, this gossip card is really great too, because it's awakening the consideration for others and for the feelings of others, and honoring trust, rather than taking, something that somebody else told you that maybe they didn't even say it was private necessarily, but maybe they just assume like that you're not going to go and tell a bunch of other people or anything like that. So it's really starting to honor, wanting to be above gossip, wanting to be above those things, because anytime we gossip, it's almost to make ourselves feel better, because when we have, bad things to say about other people, it can make us feel better, because now we feel like we seem better. We seem above that, right? Even though all of us have flaws. All of us have, things that we could like talk about and whatnot. But when we begin to, start to see that and honor that, and we start to honor our own truth, we understand that, everybody has flaws. And at that point, there's no need to gossip, because we're just like, oh, they're just living their life and I'm just living my life. And there's just no need. It kind of liberates yourself from, that sort of, mindset or demeanor, because we start to realize like, oh shit, everyone comes from a different place. Who am I to judge this person from this place when I come from this other place where both of them are just different? There's not one that's better than the other. They're both just completely different. So there's no point in even comparing them, right? So yeah, basically this is going to help you be able to awaken more and see more by being more open and authentic. And it's going to help you actually reach so much more success too, and reach some of your biggest goals, because it'll liberate you into more confidence and just a way better space in general. So this was a beautiful message from Spirit. I really love doing this reading for you, group number one. What a powerful group. And I'm also really excited for those of you who chose this pile, because I think that this is something that's so important for everyone to learn on this planet, because we all come from a place of you know, going through moments of not being authentic or being scared of our authenticity. You know, I feel like that's such a major concept and things that many of us, if not all of us, go through. So what a powerful time you're going through, group number one. You're about to step into more light and more authenticity than ever. And that is basically what Spirit has for you, the little message that Spirit had for you here. I hope that that was powerful. I hope it added some good awareness on your life, group number one. If you enjoyed this message, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up on this video so I know that. You can leave a comment down below, because I love reading those once in a while. They're so great, and really happy for the community we have. If you want to see more videos like this, then definitely hit that subscribe button down below, because I'd love to see you in future videos, and hopefully I see you there. Bye. All right, so group number two, if you chose this pile, then this is going to be your reading, so top right into it. All right, so group two, I am very excited to get into this reading for you. One thing that I want to mention right off the bat, that all of the messages that you hear in today's video are meant for your highest good. They are not meant with any ill intent, whatever. This is meant for your highest good at this time, so that we can transform and really become the best versions of ourselves, because a lot of the times we don't have awareness on the things that we don't have awareness about, right? So hopefully in today's reading, the intention behind today's reading is to add awareness to the aspects of ourselves that we might not be seeing, that are hindering us, so that we can bring awareness to them and let them go, and so we can transform them, so we can step into the best version of ourselves. And when we're the best versions of ourselves, we are feeling good, we are feeling high on life, and we are feeling healed and good and just amazing all around. So that is the intention of today's reading. It's not to call you out for anything. We're all on our own journeys, and I just want you to know I'm sending you so much love in today's reading. But yeah, I'm very excited to get into this. So basically what we have here, we have the Three of Swords, we have the Ten of Swords, Justice, Page of Crystals, the Universe, the Queen of Swords, and then the Six of Wands over here. So the first thing I'm noticing right off the bat is there's lots of swords in today's reading. You know, we have the Queen of Swords right here, we have Justice who's holding a sword, and then we have the sword cards over here. So there's just a lot of energy that's about our mentality. The swords are about our mentality, and they're also about needing to let go and cut off the things that are no longer serving us. And what I'm noticing here is there's something in your past that has hurt you, okay? And this is in your past. You might not even think about this thing anymore, okay? This might be totally unconscious. You might not even think about this old past thing anymore, or maybe you still do. But this thing has caused... This hurt has caused, you know, it's definitely been some major hurt, but it's caused you to maybe be a little bit cold, or a bit more standoffish and a bit more harsh when it comes to, you know, other people's actions, or other things like that. Like you might just have a lot of walls or certain boundaries up now, where there might be just, you might be just putting your foot down so soon, right? You might be actually secretly closed off, and maybe we're not really realizing it, or there's a tendency to still kind of maybe hang on to certain parts of victimhood within the situation. And I'm not trying to say that you're invalid for feeling the way that you do. You are completely valid, in fact, for feeling the way that you do. Completely valid. But what Justice wants to point out is that there is two sides to every coin. There's two sides to every situation. And there's some growth and learning that we can have through this situation that we've experienced, so that we can rebirth into the best version of ourselves without allowing this to steal your light anymore. Because whatever happened in the past to you has still been kind of harboring within you and stealing some of your light, because it seems like your actions today are still stemming from this. And I think it's more unconscious. We're not really realizing it. So there might be a tendency to get angrier easier. There might be a tendency to shut yourself off emotionally quicker than you normally would, right? And I think that you've also done a great deal of learning from this past situation. So I also want you to know and understand that I recognize that there's lots of positivity of the fact that you've learned a great deal through your past already. There's so much that you've already done and so much inner work that you've already done. But at the same time, having gone through harder situations in your past, there might still be certain scars where our actions today still are stemming from that scar. And when our actions now still stem from that scar, we might have a tendency to, again, be a little bit more cold, a bit more judgmental, a bit more harsh. We might shut ourselves down quicker in certain scenarios. If we notice any or sniff any sense of something being off, we might just have a tendency to just be really harsh or shut down or close things off very quickly. And it's out of a maybe fear of getting hurt again. And you might have gotten to the point where it might seem like it's out of self-respect, like, oh, I respect myself so much, so I'm now never going to let that happen to me again, which is good. I want you to know that that is good. But there might be a tendency to be overly judgmental here. There might be a tendency to be overly shut down and cold over certain situations where we need to maybe start to heal this old past scar so we can welcome in a little bit more of emotional flow once again. We need to have that balance of being able to allow love in once again, okay? And through healing this past and having this sort of rebirth and closing out this old chapter, we can move into more success. We can move into better times because we won't be living through this. We won't be living through victimhood, because when we stem and move through victimhood, any action that we take, if we take it from a place of negativity or if we take it from a place of our past, we are actually still reinventing our past. And the reason for that is because if we take action, so say this is your past and your past was really hard and whatever, and let's say that it's still sort of bothering you and you still have a ton of awareness about this. We now are taking action, but if we take it from this place, our action is going to have this sort of energy attached to it. Therefore, our action is going to seem and be perceived a little bit more negatively. So for example, if you are, going on let's say that we've been cheated on a lot in the past, and let's say we're going on a date and the person that we're, starting to date has or says something that's slightly out of line, but might not be enough where normally we would think anything about it, but maybe says something slightly different or out of context for us. And then we completely close down, we get harsh, and we're just like, no, oh my God, I cannot believe you said that. I'm never going on a date with this person again. This is ridiculous. Oh my God, no. That's us shutting down too quickly because of a past scar, rather than if we heal that scar, we can then have awareness and we can learn from what this scar has taught us, and we can say, you know what, I never want to enter that again, and I'm going to have awareness over these situations, but I'm not going to be so attached to the old still, to where I am still basing and assuming that everybody is that way. When we do that and we allow that part of ourselves to react too quickly and still be too sensitive, it's almost like having a scar that when people poke it, it's just like, it's just like, it's not fully healed. It's saying that it's not fully healed, right? Because it still clearly hurts, it's still a sensitive spot. Whereas we could fully heal ourselves to the point where we can go back out there, we can go back into battle, and we can have the awareness and we can learn the skills that we need to go back out into battle, but not be so hurt that, when a tree branch brushes against our scar, that we're going to react and completely flip out, right? So instead, we can fully heal to where we are strong, but we are more skilled. You can be more skilled and more aware, but without being hypersensitive or hyper blocked from experiencing, okay? So there's something here that we might still need to heal in order for us to go back out into the world with brand new skills because you've learned so much from your past, which means that you are very developed and very aware as a person, because the more that we go through, the more that we are aware. And so these can be used as a positive thing, right? Because a warrior that has gone out and experienced, many wars, they're going to be obviously more skilled than somebody who is not, right? So you have amazing awarenesses to where you can sense things and you can feel things, but it's better to do it from a place of being healed rather than a place of still slightly hurt or still healing. So there might be some healing that we still need to do in order for us to, completely close out this chapter. Maybe we need to do a little bit more self-reflection here, or also just close out our past and realize that was our past and it does not need to be our future, and it doesn't need to be our present either, right? Because when we're still focused a lot on our past, or we're still sort of, basing our current moment and connecting so much to it, we invite it back in, and it means that we're still living in the past. This over here talks about a rebirth. So this is about setting a new foundation for yourself, and a solid foundation, instead of feeling like we need to be overly protective, overly cautious. This is setting a new solid foundation. The universe is about realizing that we need to close out an old chapter, for one, and also that the universe is at your fingertips. Anything that you desire can exist in this universe, because any and all experiences exist here. And there is love out there. And the more that we connect to self-love, the more that we begin to love ourselves and our past experiences, the more that we begin to love others, the more that we're going to begin to heal, the more that we can forgive as well, because this also speaks about forgiveness over your past and also forgiveness over yourself as well. So this isn't about feeling bad for our previous mistakes or feeling bad for the place that we're currently in either. This is about forgiving yourself, loving yourself so much that we can step into the positivity. In fact, actually for this particular pile, there is a quote that I need to read you that is very, very powerful. So give me a second so that I can pull it up here on my phone. I reposted it on Instagram the other day, and it was just so powerful. So this is a quote from, I'm probably gonna say his name wrong, but like Sad Simone, something like that. Anyway, he wrote on Instagram the other day, and this was so powerful, and I feel like it's very relevant for you. It says, "Unfortunately, bonding over misery feels like a connection to a certain degree. And since we are biologically wired to seek connection, you might be stuck in misery and feel comfortable and that you belong there." So we might even feel like we belong in misery. We might even feel like we belong in a place of talking negatively about others, or we might feel like we belong in a situation where we bond over all the negative experiences that we've had in our past. The more that we bond upon negative experiences that we've had in our past, the more that we're recreating that in our future, and the more that we're connecting to people because of negativity, which if we no longer want to experience that, we need to leave that in the past. Look at her. She's like literally putting up a sword to her past and saying, no, you cannot no longer come into my future. So what needs to be done is that we put up a wall to our past, not necessarily a wall, because it's important to learn from it, but we're saying our mentality, we're putting up a barrier here where our mentality is no longer going to fester in this. And we are going to be on this side of the wall. And look at how positive this side of the wall is. It is important to learn from your experiences, but not live from them, and not make new connections in your future based upon your past. Because when we do that, we are just living in the past. We are recreating that same emotion over and over again. When we connect to people because of our past experiences, especially the negative past experiences that we don't want anymore, and we're making our new connections based off that, every time we retell that story, it can feel good because it emotionally adds a rise out of us, and we can gain sympathy and things like that. But those emotions don't actually necessarily feel good because we don't want to live from our past. We don't want to be the story of our past. In fact, many of us are like, oh, I wish my past didn't happen. But at the same time, we're so deeply connected to it because it was so emotional, which again, very valid. But if we don't want to recreate that in our future and we don't want to live from that emotion anymore, it is time for us to move on. It is time for us to move on and stop living from a place of misery or victimhood, because it's going to recreate that. And then all those new connections, all those new future connections that you've just made with friends or new romantic relationships and all that kind of stuff, if you're bonding upon misery and negativity, that is going to be the most prominent feeling that you have when you get together with these people, because you're going to be discussing those things over and over and over again, to the point where it feels like you're still living in it. It feels like you're still living in that misery and you're recreating it in the present moment. So if we want to move on into our future, we need to start mentally moving ourselves out of this and away from it. We need to close this door, right? We need to start moving mentally where we want to go. We need to start having conversations about the inspiration we want to create. We need to start having conversations about the amazing experiences that we are going to create, and to also begin to notice the experiences that are around you right now that are also amazing. So, for example, if you go out for dinner with a friend, or you go out for coffee with a friend or whatever, instead of bonding over past negativity and misery and like, oh, this person at work said this and that, all those things have their place, but if we no longer want to live from that, it's time to start making our most prominent and dominant conversations and mental activity surrounded by what we love and what we want to see more of. Because the more that we switch our perception to that, the more we are going to begin to move out of our past and out of the emotions we do not want, more into the emotions that we do want. And again, just to clear up again and finish what Sad Simone said on Instagram. I'm just going to read it all over again. It's a small little paragraph, but I only got halfway through it. So he said, unfortunately, bonding over misery feels like a connection to a certain degree. And since we are biologically wired to seek connection, you might be stuck in misery and feel comfortable and that you belong there. My dear, you don't, and nobody does. Remember that old saying, misery loves company. Please don't fall for that because of pity, and don't be the enabler for somebody to stay in their misery. Be the permission someone gets out and corrects the direction of their lives, rather than enabling people to continually be stuck in their misery. It's okay to vent once in a while. It's okay to talk about things and get it off your chest, but don't stay stuck there, because that is when we get stuck in our past, and then we no longer feel like we can create a positive future, and we feel like we're still stuck in our past. We feel like our past just is still there haunting us. Don't allow the ghosts of your past to continue to drag you down into that. Let the ghosts of your past move on into heaven. Let them move on into heaven. Allow yourself to liberate into the future. Go out for coffee with your friends, and instead of staying stuck on the past, let's start talking about how beautiful that nice cup of tea or coffee looks and tastes. Let's start to notice the beauty that's around you, and let's move and transition more into that. We need to create a new foundation. Page of Crystals, which is the Page of Pentacles. This is about creating a new foundation. There are new things to talk about. There's also new things to learn. This is about you learning something new. So in order to transition yourself out of this, what the Spirit wants you to know, pick up something new that's inspiring to you. Start learning something new that's inspiring to you. What is inspiring to you? Start to implement more of that into your life one by one. Start to transition more to what you do want. Start to transition more to what you do want, and you are going to notice that your universe is going to completely transform. And I mean completely, okay? Like to a deep, deep, deep level. Queen of Swords right here. This is time to start being in control of your mind rather than letting your mind control you. Look at this transition that we have here. This is about you being, she's in control of her mind, but it's you that needs to put up a stop to this. Look at this pattern and cycle. We've been stuck in this pattern and cycle of our mind almost haunting us and keeping us in a loop, in a pattern. You have the power to break that pattern and create a new foundation so that you can literally be the creator of your universe rather than letting your past create you. You are not defined by your past. You're not. Look at you can be whoever you want. You have the universe in front of you. You can birth into whoever that you want to be right now. Your past does not define you. Your past was your past, but you get to choose what to do with that past. You get to choose who to be right now, in the present moment. You get to choose who that person is. That person does not need to be this. If we don't like that, we don't need to be that. Sure, it feels comfortable to be in that. It feels good to get sympathy. I get that. But is that actually a good feeling that we want to continue stemming from consistently? Do we want the rest of our lives to be sympathy, sympathy, sympathy? Is that how you want to live your life? Or do you want to step into your ultimate creativity and power? To not be defined by your past. We can learn from our past, but to not be defined by the past and to also not live in the past. And now to be this beautiful anchor of becoming whoever you want to be in this universe. Set these new foundations, learn something new, just invite in something new into your life, something that feels good, something that feels good. The way that you're going to know if this is right and that it resonates with your soul is it's going to feel good to learn about it. It's going to feel good to dive deep into it. So this is time. Learn something new. The universe is literally at your fingertips, my love. You are the universe embodied in this body, okay? You are the universe embodied. So who do you want to be now in this present moment? And the universe, your guides right now are coming through strong, group number 2. They're coming through strong and they're just like, yo, in this present moment, you can be the best version of yourself. Your soul, your actual internal soul is this bright shining light that has been stuck by your past experiences, but you don't have to be. You're not stuck by them anymore. You just listening to this, you are not stuck by them anymore because we're bringing awareness to this, right? So it's time to put up the boundary here so that our past is not invited into our present moment anymore. It's not invited into our future. Now you are the deliberate creator. You are taking back control over your awareness and your thoughts. And don't be hard on yourself either. Patterns take a little bit of time to reconstruct, right? So don't be too hard on yourself if you're noticing that you fall back into old habits of thinking about your past or talking about your past. Don't be too harsh on yourself. That's fine. That is fine, okay? But with the awareness, just anytime that you notice that you're thinking of that, anytime you have that awareness, like, oh, I'm doing that again, just begin to drift yourself where you want to go. Begin to guide yourself where you want to go. And don't be harsh on yourself. You don't need to be harsh on yourself because what Spirit wants you to know is you haven't wasted any time. This is a beautiful learning experience for you. You're exactly where you need to be. You are exactly where you need to be. And this was all divinely, happening for you. And you even watching this video right now, this is so divinely the moment of this big realization. Okay? So don't be hard on yourself. You're exactly where you need to be. You are not late for anything. You are not late on learning this. You are exactly where you need to be. Okay? You are exactly where you need. You are the universe embodied, okay? You are everything. And you have so much potential within you, okay? And with this knowingness, now, look it. You step into the universe. And again, don't be harsh with yourself. Just continue to guide your thoughts where you want them to go. You are the deliberate creator. And you are in control of your mind, okay? It is time to bring back awareness that you are in control of that. And you can guide those thoughts wherever you want them to go. And the more that you guide them and pinpoint them to where you want them to go, look at this freaking last card that we got. Once you are guiding your thoughts and you realize, okay, this is you realizing your potential. And you're realizing your potential through realizing there are still things that you can be excited about and learn about, and you can set a new foundation. You're realizing that infinity is in front of you. And infinity exists in this present moment. Now we get to control where we want our thoughts to go and where we want to direct those thoughts and the conversations that we're going to be having and things like that. We get to direct that. Queen of Swords. Anytime that we notice that we're falling back into old patterns, we can be like, no, you know what? Today's a really nice day. And even if it's raining outside, I can make a cup of tea and I can enjoy myself and I'm going to go, do something that makes me feel good, right? And we can continue directing ourselves in that way. And once we do that, this right here, the Six of Wands, this one came up for pile number 1 too, and this is such an amazing card. This is the card of reaching ultimate success. This is literally the card of success. If you don't believe me, go and Google Six of Wands and see what comes up. Like, this card is success, to where we are getting recognition for our success. We are getting applauded for our success. People are recognizing and noticing our success, rather than staying in a place where we are talking about, and our major conversations are around our past and our hardships and blah. Instead, those conversations are going to be directed upon your successes, your achievements, how far you've come, the person you've created yourself into being. You are going to be so respected for that. Oh my gosh, like if you ever go in this direction, which you are currently headed in this direction right now, especially since you are here watching this video, this is a very pivotal point. You are headed for the direction of success, to where people are looking up to you being like, how did you do it? You know those really successful people that have those like insane stories of like, oh, I came from this and I experienced this and now I'm here. And then, you know, people who watch those interviews are just like, whoa, they came from that harsh of a, they experienced all that and look at who they are today. Oh my God. This is you. You can have and do and be anything. Group number 2, oh my God, your potential, the Six of Wands, oh, that's a card of such success. You are headed in that direction. The more and more you become to be a deliberate creator and take back your power and start to deliberately focus on your present moment and your future, rather than defining yourself on your past. You can define yourself however you want to in the present moment. You have learned from your past. You've, you know, created whatever. You can become and be anything now. And you can direct your thoughts to where you want to go and how you want to be now. Instead, focus on building yourself up and creating yourself into who you want to be, rather than focusing on, I came from this, I came from this, I came from this. Now, instead, build yourself. Let's start to build yourself, okay? Let's invite back in that inspiration. Whew, okay? And then we're headed to the Six of Wands, which is ultimate success. So with that being said, we actually have a ton more cards to get through. I know this reading has been long already, but these readings, there's a lot of information here, let me just say. So I'm going to change the battery in my camera really quick, because surprisingly it's already about to die, just because these readings have been a bit longer lately. But please stick with me, because we have some other major cards to get through that will hopefully add some more inspiration onto this reading. So I'll be right back. All right, we are back and we are ready. So let's get into these next few cards. We have the card of the reunion, soul recognition, collaboration, partnership, friendship. So this is starting to focus on your friendships and your partnerships and guiding them where you want them to go, rather than connecting with people based upon past experience. Instead, let's inspire each other to become the best that we want to be, because a lot of this is stemming from your friendships and what you're focused on most, and the reiteration of the old. Okay, so a lot of this might be stemming from friendships and what you mostly talk about with them. It's not saying that you need to cut off those friendships, although, you know, maybe making some new ones and focusing on newness is going to be really positive. But then also with your current friendships, if you very much love those people, it's time to start uplifting each other and focusing on the good, because as you do that, again, you're going to begin to step into this rather than living in this. And then we have Morning Dew, which says clarity, a fresh start, a positive outlook. Ooh, that fits in with your reading so well. I can't even believe it. So clarity, gaining clarity on who you are, how your mindset has been holding you back into this when this is sitting right in front of you. You know, so this is about this big transition. So this is a fresh start, a positive outlook rather than a negative outlook. So, I mean, oh my God, does that ever fit in so well? I just want to like take a moment and say thank you, Spirit, for like bringing in these beautiful cards. This is honestly, this is the second pile that we're on, and I'm already just in awe of the messages that Spirit has brought through today. Thank you, Spirit. Like, these are so powerful, and I hope you, those of you that are watching this, also feel the power in this reading. So then the next few cards, we have the Bone Collector. So this is talking about transformation, because the bones are the transformation. So you can allow your experiences to transform you rather than living in victimhood of those experiences. Allow them to instead transform you. So collect those experiences and become the best version of yourself through them. You have learned through them. So instead of allowing those experiences to drag you down, let's allow them to empower us. Let's allow them to be the reason for our transformation into our best version of ourselves, into the strongest version of ourselves. We also have into the unknown. So this card, it might feel like you're stepping into the unknown a little bit by going into this new direction, because we might be stepping into like, okay, well, what do I focus on? I don't know what to focus on. Let's step into the unknown, because a lot of surprises are going to come up there. You're going to start to realize that there's going to be new interests popping up, new talents, new skills, new hobbies, new interests that are going to be popping up for you. So it's time to just take a leap of faith into that unknown and step into a new world where we're no longer focusing on the old, and instead we're focusing on the new. Instead, we're focusing on bringing in new energy. And that is going to be the most transformative place where literal miracles are going to start popping up into your life. A lot of spiritual learning through that, and a lot of rebirth. Then we also have the Golden Palace. Ooh, this is a powerful card. So the Golden Palace is basically about sort of creating like your temple, kind of. And the gold kind of symbolizes this, like you're stepping into your golden palace. You're creating your dream life. This is where you get to create your golden palace. But your golden palace is not going to be created by constantly feeling within victimhood and things like that. And yes, you're absolutely valid, for your feelings, and you're never invalid for them. But at the same time, the longer we fester in that and put all of our attention and focus towards that, and it's all we ever talk about, we're going to end up spiraling ourselves into a hole of just that. Whereas instead, again, and I'm sure you guys get the message, we put up the, the wall, the block, the sort of boundary, and we allow ourselves to just step into our actual real potential. We allow ourselves to step into and become the creator once again. You have your power, and you can take your power back at any moment. And this is when you're supposed to take back your power and tip the scales in the other direction, and realize that these two scales are attached. Your potential is directly attached to your not potentials. But instead we could tip the scale and go in the other direction. So it's time to just tip the scale and go into the direction of you having your power, taking your power back. And we take our power back by realizing that we are in control, and we're never the victim. We just take back our own power, and we say, what can I do now, here, otherwise? Like, let's take our power back and take responsibility for our own lives in this present moment. And when we do that, we take our power back to actually deliberately go into the direction that we want to go in. We take our power back and say that, yes, I do have the ability to create my golden palace. So how am I going to do that? And let's start focusing on doing that rather than focusing on what happened in the past. Because the more we focus on it, it's never going to change. Our past is always going to be there. It's never going to change. So what's the point of festering on it and focusing on it? Let's focus on our present moment and say, what do I want in my present moment? I'm no longer going to focus on the past, because focusing on it does nothing. It doesn't do anything. What golden palace do I want to create in my life? And you ultimately have the potential to do that, because 6 of Wands, Spirit wants you to know you have this potential in front of you to be anything, to be literally anything. The whole universe is at your fingertips. You have the ability to be anything. What golden palace do you want to create? Let's go in that direction. The more you guide your thoughts in that direction, the more you face that direction, the more you face your present moment and your future, and focus on the positivity, have that positive outlook, and you focus on the good things, you're going to start going in that direction. Your energy will be flowing in that direction rather than flowing in this direction. Wherever our attention goes, energy flows. Okay? So, with that being said, next two cards that we have, Door to Personal Healing and Happiness. This card fits in so well. I love doing tarot because I don't even look at these cards when I'm picking them. They're like completely faced this way, and I'm just putting them on the piles intuitively. And I'm so shocked at how well they always fit in with the groups. It just blows my mind. Door to personal healing and happiness. This is your door. This is your window. It is time to get to the other side of the door instead of living on this side of the door. It's time to go here where the rainbows are, where the potential is, where your future is, where your present moment actually is. We also have healer of the ages. Ooh, this is awakening healing ability in you. Honestly, healing ability that can heal others. And this is also, I am getting that there is healing here that you are going to be healing, like generational healing, ancestral healing, because there could be ancestral wounds that you have even, brought into this life, because there's something called ancestral wounds, which you don't need to feel like they're hindering you or holding you back, because they're not anymore. You've learned from them, and by you making this shift and transition, by you literally just making this shift and transition and beginning to set a new foundation and just being calm with yourself, being patient and guiding yourself in this new direction, the more that you go into that new door, you are literally healing ancestral karma. You are literally healing ancestral wounds. This means that when you have kids, if you decide to have kids, or, whatever your lineage that's down below you that is yet to come, is going to be fully healed and won't have to experience the same things that the older generations have. Healer of the ages, you are literally cutting off karmic ties. You are clearing karma through this. You are literally rebirthing into something completely new, and it is going to be beautiful, to say the least. The last few cards that we have here, so we have Bully. So the light attributes, the more that we go into this direction, the more that we flow into this positivity, it will highlight your tendency to intimidate others, or helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. So I think that the more you flow into this direction, people aren't going to take advantage of you anymore. People will... Okay, this is actually a very important message. When we live in victimhood, we almost have this energy, and I don't mean this in an offensive way at all. I mean this for your highest good, right? For our transformation, for our healing. But when we live in victimhood, we carry this energy of like, woe is me, and people can step all over me because it's happened to me before. And when we have that energy, we tend to attract people that see that within us, that will then take advantage of us more. And we tend to attract those experiences to us because that's the energy we're currently holding. The more that you shift into this direction, the more that you shift into your power, and you take your power back by taking responsibility of your life and your current moment. And you shift into your power. You literally take your power back by doing that, by taking responsibility, and you move into the new, and you just say, hey, I'm responsible for my own life, and I'm going to start taking back that responsibility, and I'm going to be different, and I'm going to take back my power and deliberately become the best version of myself and feel powerful, feel confident. And the more that you do that, literally watch videos online of human confrontation with animals. For example, like there's been humans that, like if they're being pursued by like a cougar or like a lion or a bear or something like that, something, very intimidating. If you run like a victim, it will continue to chase you because it thinks you're prey. But if you, and I don't mean this like, don't take this as literal advice, because it's probably not going to work every single time, but there's countless times of this actually working. If you instead face on that animal as if you hold the power and that you're not scared, all of a sudden it'll be intimidated by you, and it's like, oh, I don't want to approach that. That's clearly not prey. That thing wants to come after me. Holy shit, I'm going to turn the other direction. Like, that's not normal. That's clearly not something that is food, right? Because it's not going to go after something that isn't scared of it, because it's like, whoa, I need to actually, this is like confrontation right here, right? So there is those examples, and this is basically, this card is saying that. So it highlights your tendency to intimidate others. So instead of people being able to push you over, instead of you being a pushover, instead of you seeming like prey, this is going to highlight your tendency to intimidate others. You're going to have such a powerful energy that other people won't desire to take advantage of you. They're going to see your power and recognize that, and they're like, oh, well, I respect this person. I don't want to try to walk all over this person because they don't have that energy. And then it also helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. the more that you go in this direction and shift your mindset, you are going to have such epiphanies and such deep awakenings that are going to bring so much more awareness. And now you're going to instead give off not an intimidating energy in a bad way, but in a respectful way. Like I deserve respect and my energy exudes respect, right? Versus the opposite way, conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. So if we fall into victimhood and we stay in the negativity of this, the shadow attribute of this card is it's going to conceal deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. It's kind of like we stay in a more negative, fearful mindset. But when we kind of step into our power, you're going to drop a lot of your fears in a healthy way. You're still going to have awareness, but it's no longer going to be fear and victimhood and becoming prey. Instead, you're going to become someone who exudes power, or not, but not in a negative way, in a very positive way, where you exude respect and assertiveness over yourself, right? Then we also have the card here of storytellers. So the ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. So as you go in this direction, you're going to have the ability to experience and express life. Look at this vibrancy. It's kind of like you get to create your own story. You're in control of your own story, right? Versus the shadow, this way, is making up tales that harm others or even yourself, right? Because, you know, sometimes and I'm not saying that you ever make up tales, like you're very valid in your experience, but the shadow attribute of this card is maybe, you know, continuing to tell tales that are hurtful to yourself and hurtful to others and staying in that victimhood. You know, we don't need to stay here. We can instead become the creator and create positive experiences that we can share. And, you know, both have their place, but again, we need that. We need a better balance. And of course, we need to experience more of the goodness and create more of the goodness than there is negativity. Because that's where all of us desire to be, right? We also have the card here of detective. And this card, the light attributes of detective, so, you know, you focusing in this direction, great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. You're going to be able to see truth so much more. You're going to be able to see and understand and gain clarity over your past. The more that you move away from it and the more that you get a bird's eye view, you're going to understand your past so much more. So much more. I just ate breakfast like an hour ago. So much more. The shadow attributes, so if we're focused in the negative direction, voyeurism, I actually don't know what that word means. Falsifying information. So I think that it's not, again, saying that you've ever falsified information. If you have, and if you do resonate with that, then, you know, and maybe there's a tendency to make things sound worse than they really are. Some of us have that. I'm not saying all of you have that are listening to this, but that might be one of the messages for some of you that are listening to this. Or also, falsifying information could be, you know, maybe not seeing something clearly. Maybe we're not understanding something to its clearest degree and we're still confused about certain things. You're going to become less and less confused the more that you move into this direction, because again, then there's so much more learning that's going to be had the more that you go here, and you're going to be able to get that bird's eye view of this and be able to see it from an outside external perspective, and it's going to allow you to learn so much more from it and see the truth behind it rather than feeling confused and lost. When we're stuck within something, very easy to feel confused and lost. Just like when you're stuck in the middle of a storm, you can't see how big that storm is. We cannot understand what that storm looks like. We're stuck in the center of it, therefore everything's very confusing and murky. When we take an external perspective, we go fly a plane above a storm or something like that, all of a sudden we can see it for what it really is, and we're like, whoa, I totally understand the big picture now, whoa. And you know, that's when we see a hurricane, we're like, oh, if we're at the center of it, we'll be fine. And you know, the external, you know, we get to understand so much more. We see it for what it really is. We see the truth behind it. So That is basically the message that we have for you, group number 2. That was a long message, but I hope it added clarity and I hope it added inspiration for moving into this new direction. Because again, my only intention with this is that we can transform into the best versions of ourselves through the messages that Spirit had for us today. And again, this is not meant to make you feel bad in any way. That is not the intention behind this at all. The intention is just to add awareness, and there's no need to feel bad for your past or who you've been or who you are or anything like that. We're all on this journey of life together. We all go through these experiences collectively. This is all just part of the human experience. And you are divine where you already are, my love. You are absolutely a divine human being who is loved so deeply by me, the universe, and everyone in it. And hopefully you felt some transformative energy through this, or felt some inspiration and added awareness and added clarity upon maybe something that you are going through in life right now. And that is my only intention, to bring awareness on certain circumstances that we might be going through. So I hope you enjoyed this video, group number 2. I see you going in such a good direction with, again, so much potential for success here. And the more that you go in that direction, the more that you are going to achieve that beautiful success for yourself, where you have the universe at your fingertips. So I'm sending you all of my love, group number 2. I hope you enjoyed this reading, today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this in the future, because I would love to have you there. And hopefully I see you in my next one. Bye. All right, so group number 3, if you chose this pile, then this is going to be a reading, so I'll top right into it. All right, so group 3, let's get into your reading. We have the King of Wands, King of Pentacles, the Sun, the Ten of Pentacles, the Three of Cups, and the Wheel of Fortune over here. So what we have going on for you, and what an aspect of yourself that you need to become aware of, is that you are actually way more powerful than you currently realize. We start off this reading with the King of Wands and the King of Pentacles. You actually offer more inspiration to others, and you have more creativity within you. You actually have a lot of creative energy, in fact. Group 3, you have tons of creative energy. And you have much more power to create than you currently realize, to actually manifest the things that you are inspired by. I think that there's certain times where you feel maybe insignificant, or you maybe feel small, or you maybe feel like you haven't learned enough, or you haven't come far enough in order to do certain things. I think that sometimes you might think lower of yourself than you really are. Or you might, look up to others. You might look up to other masters more than you see your own knowledge and your own worth. And you might think like, oh, well, they're higher up than me. They know more than me. They have more credibility than me. Of course they can do it, but I can't do it. You might not think that you are worthy of certain things. You might not think that you are worthy of, like, speaking about certain stuff or doing certain stuff or being qualified for certain things. But what Spirit wants you to know is that you have way more potential than you realize, group number 3. Like way more potential than you realize. And you are constantly growing, and you have a certain light about you that's incredibly inspiring, and you have your own uniqueness. The interesting thing about, comparing yourself to others or whatever is when we compare ourselves to others, we're looking at their particular uniqueness that we might be lacking in. Or we're looking at the fact that maybe, oh, they've been doing it longer, or da-da-da-da, or whatever. You have your own unique light to offer that is completely different than theirs. Even if you have certain similarities, it's like you have your own sort of kind of unique spectrum of that certain circle. So you have your own light to offer, and the universe is saying that you are growing at the exact pace that you need to be, and you don't need to begin something once you're super old and have all the wisdom. Part of it is going along the journey. Part of it is, starting from this stage and working your way up to this, right? But you've already done a lot of the work. And so it's just a matter of starting and beginning, because we cannot become masters of something without beginning it. We cannot become really good at something without fully just immersing ourselves into it and doing it and accepting it. So one of the aspects of yourself that we need to become aware of is, really starting to let your light shine and becoming more confident in yourself, becoming more believing in who you are and your ability and your talents, and to bring more awareness over your particular skill set and your current accomplishments and your current successes. And the more that you begin to look at those, the more that you begin to see that and add awareness to that, you are going to begin to bring in more of that confidence and start to believe in yourself. And it's also going to activate more of your creativity. And also there's a new you. I'm getting that there's a new you that's wanting to birth out. There is some unrealized aspects of yourselves that actually want to birth out and become celebrated. And I think the more that you begin to step into your own power, the more that you begin to kind of realize who you are, the more that you begin to nurture yourself as well and encourage yourself rather than diminishing yourself. So rather than, saying like, oh, I'm lacking in this area, I'm lacking in that area, instead be like, oh, I'm really good at this, or I'm really good at that. I really appreciate my skills in this and I've come a long way in here. Start to encourage yourself by using that perspective rather than the latter, rather than the other. So it's good to begin to pull yourself up and encourage yourself into the direction you want to go rather than diminishing yourself back into a hole. The universe really wants you to start coming out. Look at this. Instead of being in this cave, it wants you to come out and there's a path in front of you that it really wants you to take, or spirit wants you to take. And I think that your soul has been calling you towards, your soul has been wanting to really be birthed out. Maybe there's an idea that you have that also really wants to be birthed out, but we've been kind of putting it on the back burner. And let me tell you, there's a lot of potential here for celebration. The Three of Cups talks about being able to celebrate, but there's this internal part of yourself that needs to be recognized and needs to be seen. And the more that you begin to give yourself that recognition, the more that you begin to celebrate your successes, the more that you're actually going to bring success into your life, group number 3, the more that you're actually going to be on that path to your castle, to the thing that you do want to deeply attain. I'm also oddly getting from this, reading, just because the background of this card kind of looks like the exploding sun right here, and so does this, and this is like the birth of a baby. I am getting a message that for some of you are destined to have a baby, and only listen to that if that actually really resonates with you. Again, it is a general reading, so I don't like saying, really deep stuff sometimes that might be kind of like irrelevant to the reading, but for some reason that message keeps coming through, that's really meant for some of you watching this. And I feel like those of you that actually resonate with who that message is for, you're going to actually really feel that. And you're going to be like, oh yeah, that's me. It's going to somehow resonate with you, okay? But there's like a purpose here to have a child and to bring a child into this world. Some of you might have already done that and gotten through that phase, but that is oddly part of your purpose. So group 3, that's a different sort of side message that I'm getting along this reading. But it's also interesting to see these staircases. Behind the King of Pentacles, there's a staircase, and in the Ten of Pentacles, there's the staircase. And so there's a destiny you're supposed to reach here, and this destiny really wants to be realized and seen. And there's a destiny that's trying to come up, and some of you watching this might not feel like you actually have a destiny. This is aside from babies and things like that. This is a personal destiny aside from babies and stuff. This is a personal destiny that you're actually supposed to fulfill, group number 3. And it's waiting for you. And I feel like even if you don't feel like you understand what your destiny is, you oddly, I think all of you kind of watching this might feel this underlying thing of like, I know I'm meant for something. It feels like, and if you don't know what your destiny is, it probably feels like something's kind of missing. And it's because you're really meant for a particular destiny, and you're going to realize what that destiny is the more that you begin to sort of nurture yourself and move into the direction of your interests. For some reason, I'm always burping in these readings. I literally eat like right before these readings, and sometimes I snack, and then I'm like, I don't know. It's been happening a lot lately. Honestly, that doesn't usually happen, but I've been eating more bread, and I think that's why. Anyway, there's this destiny that you're supposed to reach, group number 3. And there's a particular purpose here, and I actually think that you are the creator of this purpose. That is a deep message that actually just hit me. You are the creator of this purpose. It's whatever you tend to incubate, whatever you desire to incubate is actually your purpose and your light. But you have a light that is supposed to find its place in this world. And you might be searching for it, wondering like, okay, what exactly does that look like? Where am I supposed to be? Where am I supposed to go? And some of you might already know a slight idea of what that looks like. But the interesting part of your reading is you're actually very much the creator. You just have a light that's meant to shine. So you actually get to decide where you want to shine that. You get to decide what that looks like and what you put that into. It's actually very open. And Spirit is basically just saying like guide yourself wherever you want to go, as long as you're shining your light, as long as you're following your inspiration. Your particular purpose here, group number 3, is actually to just follow inspiration and think about a goal that you want to reach and just be that inspiration, be that encouragement, and also do the things that you really enjoy doing as well. There's a desire here that's very much meant to be fulfilled, though, and there's times where we might kind of reach challenges in it, but those are the periods of growth. Like when we're going down here, this is the periods of hibernation and growth and learning and reflection, and going through those challenges. And the Wheel of Fortune also, again, goes back up where we get the rise and we utilize all that we've learned, and it ends up working in our favor, and we get the strength to then climb this part of the circle and this part of the wheel, and then, it's that balance. So the Wheel of Fortune is about that balance of life, of the ebbs and flows that go through life. But you're honestly more than you realize. Another aspect that I'm seeing within the Wheel of Fortune is there's this negative side, this downside, and this upside, but they're all part of the same circle. And I'm getting that there's a tendency maybe sometimes to look at your flaws or look at your weaknesses and things like that. Whereas your positives, it's all part of the same circle. You know what I mean? Like, you are worthy of so much, but it depends which side of the coin you want to look at, right? Do we want to look at the side of the coin where we look at our flaws or negativities, which everybody has them? Or do we want to look at the side of the coin and encourage ourselves and pull ourselves into the right direction of encouragement and seeing our amazingness, seeing our talent, seeing our gifts, seeing our light, and seeing our successes and our accomplishments and our potentials? There's two sides of that coin at all times, and everybody has those two sides. And if some people can make it to their big successes regardless of their two sides of their coin, what makes you any different, right? You deserve just the same. You deserve to achieve and become and create yourself into whatever you desire. You are the creator of yourself and of your life. And the Ten of Pentacles is about reaching big achievements and big goals. It's one of the best cards in the deck, and it's also about investing. And so now is the time to really start realizing your worth. This is a card that's talking about realizing your worth, as well as the King of Pentacles. And it's time to actually acknowledge and celebrate your successes. There's a lot Spirit wants you to know and bring awareness to the fact that there's a lot about you that deserves to be celebrated, group number 3. A lot. And it's time for you to actually begin taking time to celebrate that, because if you do, you're going to start turning the wheel into this direction. You're going to start looking on the positive side of the coin and realizing a lot of these great aspects of yourself, which is going to allow you to really start to step into your power, rather than keeping yourself in the incubation stage of like, oh, I'm still learning. There's never an end to learning, group 3, ever. You're never going to reach a point where you feel satisfied with the amount that you know. There's never going to be that point. So it's time to start now and enjoy the process of learning and look at all that you already know and allow that to be your light that you shine. Allow that to be your inspiration that you shed onto this planet, onto this world. You can start from now. Everyone starts from somewhere and everybody starts from the bottom. The fact is you're not necessarily starting from the bottom. You've already lived. You already have certain experiences under your belt. It is just time to begin. Whatever it is that you dream about, whatever it is that you desire, it is time to begin and add the awareness to yourself that you already have what it takes. You already have enough experience under your belt to begin whatever it is that you desire to begin. And your guides and your spirit team are coming through to let you know that you already have everything. It's time to realize how much you've already invested into yourself. How much you already are worth. You are already worth something, and that's only going to grow from here as long as we begin to nurture ourselves and into our dreams and into our goals and start climbing up that ladder. You're already partway up the ladder, and the funny thing is this is an endless ladder. I think you have a tendency to want to become and get to the top of the ladder before you actually feel worthy of doing something, but the thing is the ladder is infinite. It doesn't ever end. You will never, ever, ever get to the top. Nobody will ever get to the top. Not one person, because it's endless. Our universe is endless. We live in an infinite universe, just like the circle. It'll just keep spinning and spinning and spinning. The staircase is like that. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going into infinity. So you can climb that all day and all night, forever, however long you want. Wherever you're standing on that staircase right now, you can begin there, or you can begin on the next step, or you can begin on the next step. But no step is better than the other to begin at. Everyone needs to begin somewhere. Spirit wants you to know that you can begin right now. You can begin right now. And there's no point in like, you could have also begun steps ago, but that part doesn't matter. The only part that matters is like, hey, you can also begin right now. You can also begin trusting yourself right now and encouraging yourself right now. And the more that you begin to see your potential and your worth, even if you're already successful, even if, you already have whatever under your belt, that doesn't matter. You can still begin to start seeing your worth right now. And if you do group number 3, if you begin to start seeing your worth more and more, which is interesting that you chose citrine, because citrine is all about worthiness and confidence and money and abundance and worthiness. Once you begin to start seeing your worth and recognizing more of your worth and no longer doubting yourself or putting yourself, back, discouraging yourself in certain ways, the more that you begin to nurture yourself and recognize your worths, the more that you begin to celebrate those, the more that you're actually going to climb this ladder faster and being able to experience more and attain more of those dreams and desires that you have in front of you. And so this is about beginning to recognize all that you already do have to offer and starting to see that and feel value in that. Starting to value yourself more, valuing your time more. And I'm also getting a message for a lot of you that there's an internal part of yourself that really wants to have fun and be youthful and let out this fun, youthful side rather than constantly always having to feel like we need to be mature, rather than constantly feeling like, oh, I need to try to be my most mature. I need to try to be at my best. I need to try to hold down the fort. That aspect needs to be healed. There's an aspect that really wants to come out that wants to feel that youthfulness again, rather than always constantly feeling like, oh, we need to be our best. We need to be at our tip-top shape and we need to no, hold ourselves to the super high standard. There's also this silly aspect of you that really wants to come out and be recognized. There's also this fun aspect, becoming innocent again, allowing your inner child to have fun again, rather than being like, I need to be mature and be serious and blah, 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 blah. There is this fun side of you that just wants to be a little bit more playful, because as you begin to also bring out that playful side and have a balance between, being this respectable, high up, person that you also respect, and the serious person, if we have a balance between that and also this innocent funness, because we always have both sides of the spectrum, you know what I mean? We also have both sides of the coin, right? The more that we begin to accept that, the more that we begin to have balance between the big old seriousness and our fun, it doesn't really matter, the more that we begin to balance that, the more abundance that you're actually going to find, because both of them have purpose, right? We cannot climb to super, super, super high heights by just being silly all the time and letting life slide by. But we also cannot climb those super, super, super high heights by being super serious all the time. I gotta climb, because we're going to burn ourselves out. We need to have that balance between oh, I'm going to have fun on this step and it's going to be a great time. And then oh, but I'm also going to be serious and take myself seriously. Move to the next step and move to the next step. And look at this, look what's happening over here. We need to have this good balance in life. And so another aspect of yourself that really wants to come back out, and maybe you've been noticing this lately, is there's 2 aspects of yourself that really desire to be noticed and fulfilled. Is this serious side, for one, this side of knowing your worth. That side of the coin really wants to be recognized and noticed, as well as the side of the coin that also desires to have fun and sit in enjoyment and not take life so seriously all the time, and to just have fun. Look at that 3 of Cups and that Sun card. Those 2 cards are all about enjoyment and having fun between the seriousness and the aspect of that, right? So with that being said, let's get into our next few cards that we have. So the next 2, we have the Sophia card, Divine Plan, Wisdom, Intelligence Within, and Destiny. Ooh, so yes, your destiny, you're the absolute divine creator of that. Also, wisdom and intelligence within. You already have so much wisdom and intelligence within you. You already are so wise. We don't need to constantly feel like we're not worthy. We don't need to constantly feel like we're insignificant compared to others. You already have much intelligence within, and you can begin whichever step that you're currently on. But you also do have that fun, innocent side. We all do. And it's important to not lose that. It's important to not repress that. We don't need to repress our fun, amazing light, fun little light in order to be super serious, because then we just burn ourselves out and we lose a very important aspect of ourselves. We lose the balance. We need to have that balance, because with both of those, that is where the real intelligence lies, and that's where the real life begins too. We also have open, say yes, expand through the extremes, trust life. So this is about opening up more, being really authentically you instead of repressing any aspect of yourself. There's no need to repress any aspect of yourself. It's important to recognize both, right? And continue to live through both and realize that yes, you are worthy. We don't need to continually feel like we're not. You are, and you're unique in your own way. And it's time to feel confident in that rather than comparing yourself to somebody else who might be slightly different. We're like, but I really admire them. But guess what? There's also people that really admire you. So it's a balance, it's always going to be a balance. And the more that you begin to recognize that within yourself, the more that you begin to see your own uniqueness and that of which you have to offer, the more that you're going to begin to offer others, because you're going to see your own light, and then that'll be able to shine more. But you need to nurture yourself and encourage yourself and celebrate yourself. Okay? The next few cards that we have slow and steady. So there's no need to rush. Slow and steady wins the race, as you guys all know that story. So there's, of course, no need to rush to get to the top of the staircase. It's important to enjoy the journey along the way rather than being serious. Like, I need to get to the top, I need to get to the top, I need to get to the top, I need to get to the top. Enjoy along the way. Take breaks to rest and rejuvenate and nurture and incubate yourself into the best version of yourself, because the more that you do that, the more that you're going to have to offer here. The more that you just continue to strive for the best, you're not going to have a lot to offer at that point, because you're just draining yourself and you're only living one aspect of life. If we live all-encompassing, we get all areas of the circle fulfilled, and the more that we have all areas of that circle fulfilled rather than living in only one direction, that's going to help us provide more. That's also going to help us with our vitality. We're going to have more energy to go up that staircase. We're going to have more energy to get to those goals. So slow and steady. Be patient with yourself. You don't need to rush to those goals. You don't need to make them happen right here, right now. Enjoy the journey, because you're going to learn so much more. It's about that balance, right? We also have details. So it's also important to not be a perfectionist, right? We don't need to be perfect in order to begin. We don't need to have every single detail polished and perfect, because nothing like that in nature exists anyway. It's impossible to reach. And the fact that nothing is perfect actually means that everything is perfect. If nothing is, that means everything actually is perfect. So we don't need to prim and polish everything. We don't need to be perfect before we begin something. It doesn't need to be perfect. You are what you are, and you're offering the light that you offer, and it's going to improve as you go on. But it's important not to stop yourself and wait for perfection, because that's never going to occur. We also have cleaning house. So it can also be important to kind of get rid of the things that are no longer serving us. There's certain things that are no longer serving us that is important to get rid of. This can also mean literally that there's one thing that we need to be aware of is maybe there's certain stuff that we're still holding on to that'll be important to let go, whether that's physical items, emotional things, memories, spiritual things, mental things that we need to more let go of and allow ourselves to purge and release, right? Maybe there's definitely an aspect of ourselves that strives for perfection, or strives for, I need to be the best, I need to be the best. You already are, because you're different than everybody else. Therefore, you cannot be compared to anybody else. Therefore, you already are your best. It's about recognizing that and living in that. And the more that you live in that, the more that you really exude that and actually claim that and recognize that. We also have door to romance. So another aspect of yourself that needs awareness is maybe there's certain parts of yourself that are caged up, and it's time to really open that part out. It's time to open up more of that romantic flow, more of that emotional flow. The more that you open up that emotional flow, I think is going to really serve you. We also have all tied up. There's certain aspects of yourself that are totally closed off, that maybe you tend to hide, or you tend to repress, or you tend to shove in a corner. or you tend to resist or hold yourself back in certain ways when there's certain parts that really want to come out and shine. And those aspects really want to come out. And the more that you let those out, the more balance that you're going to have in climbing that ladder that you want to climb, the more that you're going to be able to reach those goals, because it's about the balance. And the more that we repress certain aspects of ourselves, that's almost like going to the gym and repressing some of our muscles and hoping that we're going to be able to lift more weight and achieve more by repressing certain muscles. That's obviously not going to happen. So if you're repressing certain points of yourself, you're repressing part of your energy, meaning that you're also resisting getting to the top of that ladder. But the more that you open up and the less that you resist, the easier it will be to run to the top. You know, it's hard. If you're wearing a resistance band, of course, it's going to take you more time to climb the ladder, right? So it's time to stop resisting yourself. The more that you resist yourself and the more that you put yourself down, the more that you are hard on yourself and suppress certain aspects of yourself, the more that you suppress part of your energy that you could be utilizing to actually get to the top. So slow and steady wins the race, right? We're thinking like, oh, I'll get there faster if I don't stop for fun. I'll get there faster if I do this or do that. No, actually. You'll actually get there faster if you take time to enjoy the moment and sniff the roses and enjoy along the way, because you're going to gain knowledge and you might even see a secret path that gets to the finish line even sooner. Whereas before we would have not recognized that because we were too busy in our own head trying to take control over everything and having so much resistance, right? But if we're able to take in all the moment and just dance through life with our openness and our authenticity, surprisingly, we actually get to our destination even faster when we're not trying, because there's no resistance, right? So it's not meaning don't try, but it's meaning let go of the resistance. Allow your energy to flow, because the more it flows, the more energy that you have and the more momentum that you'll gain. The next few cards that we have for you, we have the Poet. So the light attribute is you allowing the fullness of you to shine and the fullness of you to be expressed. And that is expresses soul insights in symbolic language. So this is about you being able to fully actually express your insights, express your views. You're going to start to be able to see signs and synchronicities in the universe. I also think that you're going to be able to start to see deeper things that are normally not so easy to recognize or have awareness of. You're going to be able to now express and also perceive of those things. If we stay in the resistance and we stop allowing ourselves and we resist, it's going to turns a lyric gift into negative or a destructive effect. So turns a lyric gift into negative or destructive effect. Yeah, so basically if we resist, we're actually causing more harm than good. We're actually kind of like putting ourselves backwards rather than forwards, especially with our creativity and things like that. We also have the King card. So the light attributes, if we're no longer resisting and we're fully believing in ourselves and allowing ourselves to be fully authentically us and having that confidence within ourselves, we are enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. So you're going to be benefiting those around you, and you are going to be a leader rather than feeling like you are a follower. The shadow attributes, so if we're suppressing ourselves, this is excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint. So we may even feel, so another shadow attribute is not even feeling worthy at all, right? So we could either not feel worthy at all, or we feel excessive feelings of entitlement, or we feel like we have too much restraint, is what I feel like is the real kind of like shadow attribute that we're kind of feeling in this reading. We also have the Slave card coming through. So the light attributes, if we're again allowing no resistance, is surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. So the more that we actually surrender and we don't force, if we're not forcing and we surrender our power of choice to the divine with complete trust that, you know, we're on the right path and we're getting there and we're just living our authentic truth, following the deepest inspiration that we have rather than forcing, or rather than feeling like we're not good enough to even begin. Instead, if we go into that, the universe is guiding us right where we need to go, versus the shadow attribute. If we are restricting ourselves too much, we are giving our willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. So we might fear making our own choices because we might fear like, oh, maybe I'm wrong, or, you know, if I actually step into this, maybe, you know, those who are better than me are going to not know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and maybe I'm going to make a fool of myself, or maybe, you know, I'm not worthy of that, or I don't see my worth, and blah, 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 blah. Then we actually give all of our power to the external force, right? And we're no longer having that power for us to move and attain what we desire to attain. Whereas all of us, again, we start from where we start from. We all start from where we start from. And there's nobody that starts from being perfection already. We all start from, you know, where we start from, and we're constantly learning and constantly growing. It's that endless ladder, that endless staircase. We also have child divine. So the light attributes, when there's no restriction, is innocence, purity, and redemption. Allowing your inner child to come back out. Your inner child wants to come back out. And as I was saying, for some of you, I oddly feel like there's a child like that's meant to come into your life, a child of your own, most likely. But that's, again, only a message for some of you. But I also feel like your inner child wants to come back out rather than being repressed. So being able to have fun and enjoy life again. So the innocence, purity, and redemption suggests a special connection with the divine. So we're more in tune with the divine the more that we're able to have fun, because fun signifies the energy of goodness in our lives, and it's rejuvenating, it's energizing. When we're having fun, we don't feel tired. Like, you know, when you're having fun in the evening and it's so much fun that you forget what time it is, and you're like, whoa, it's so late, it's way past my bedtime, but I'm like so excited, I can't sleep. Like, ah! That's because you're living off of that source energy, that high of life. The more that you go towards that, you're gonna have so much energy to attain your desires. You're also gonna get inspiration and ideas that you wouldn't perceive of otherwise, because the more that we restrict ourselves and we're like, no, I can't have fun, I don't have time for that, you know, or like, oh, I can't do that because the more that we do that, we repress our connection with the divine. Therefore, we're not feeding off that life force energy, and we might feel more tired and burnt out than usual. But slow and steady wins the race. If we take time to stop and smell the roses, which is AKA taking time to do something that you love, that gives you that high of life, you literally revitalize yourself. You become like the sun. And it's so energizing that you feel like you can do anything, right? Versus when we restrict ourselves, it is an inability to defend oneself against negative forces, which is exactly right. So when we don't allow ourselves to do what we really love and to have confidence, to allow ourselves to enjoy whatever we're doing instead of making it super serious and blah, 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 and then we kind of get burnt out and we also get uninspired by it. So we really repress our own light, and we allow kind of like negative forces to come in. We start to maybe even not love our passions anymore because our passions have become so restrictive and so serious, and that doesn't allow creativity to flow. Creativity flows when we allow ourselves to enjoy life and have fun and like, oh my God, look at this. Blah, blah. We actually revitalize ourselves and fill ourselves with so much energy. So it's time to open that up so that you can feel the romance of life once again, rather than being all tied up and restricting yourself and not seeing your light and not seeing your worth, and also restricting yourself like, I can't have fun, I need to live life super seriously and stuff. It is time to be open. Let your inner child out, start to have fun more, because you are going to revitalize yourself and get high on life, and there's going to be more inspiration that comes to you than ever. So this is one aspect of yourself to bring awareness to, and this isn't about feeling bad or being like, oh dang, why didn't I realize this sooner? This is all part of life, and this is meant to be a divine, inspiring message of transformation for you, so that we can bring awareness to certain aspects of ourselves, so that we can let our inner light shine to its fullest. And so those of you listening to this group number 3, I really hope that this message offers inspiration to you rather than extra restriction, okay? So my intention behind this is to free you, to untie those restrictions by bringing awareness to them, so that you can see your potential and allow your light to come back to the surface and shine, so that you can live your best life possible, so that you can achieve your desires and your goals, because you are worthy of them. You are literally the king of your life. You don't need to be the slave of your experiences. You can be the poet and the inspirer of your life. You can be that fun, energetic, energy that's silly and enjoying, because that's going to bring inspiration and allow you to climb that ladder faster than ever. And you can climb that ladder with fun. You can get to your goals and attain your goals through excitement and fun and purity rather than restriction and restraint and hardships, right? There needs to be a balance. But of course, we cannot fall too far into the funness and too far into the not caringness, because that's also when we begin to get naive again and we lose our sense of willpower and determination. It needs to have a balance, okay? We need to have balance between, yes, I have serious goals, but also I have serious goals with fun too. It's about the balance of both and enjoying both of them, okay? So group number 3, this is meant to liberate you, and I hope that this is adding on insight into your life so that you can feel liberated. You can let your light shine to its fullest, because it really deserves to, and you have a beautiful light to offer this world, group number 3. Like, my goodness, the amount that you could offer and attain and become is absolutely incredible. We have that 10 of Pentacles right there. It's just such a beautiful card. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's reading, group number 3. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this in the future, because I would love to have you there. And hopefully I see you in my next one. Bye. All right, so group number 4, if you chose this pile, then this is going to be a reading, so I'll hop right into it. All right, so group number 4, here is what you need to be aware of that Spirit wants you to be aware of. We have the Princess of Chalices, which is the Page of Cups, basically. Then we have the 9 of Wands. Then we have the Princess of Discs, which is the Page of Pentacles. We have the 10 of Swords. We have the 7 of Cups, and then we have the 3 of Cups. So one thing I'm getting right off the bat is you are a dreamer, and I think that you have awareness that you're a dreamer. You're a very creative person. The fact that we have the Page of Cups and then also the 7 of Cups right here absolutely tells me that you are somebody with a very creative mind. You think about things almost really easily. It's like they come to you, like good ideas and creativity seem to flow to you really well. And I think that you are a very creative and inspiring kind of person, and you enjoy kind of pursuing ideas, and you get really excited about them. But at the same time, there is this tendency to also second guess yourself, or to also kind of think about so many things at once that it can kind of get overwhelming, because you are highly creative, and then maybe you kind of want to go in all these different directions at once, and then it can kind of get overwhelming. So because of this hyperactivity of creativity, the hyper creativity that you have, it can get a bit much at times. It can get to a point where it's weighing you down. Also, another thing that I'm noticing is that because you desire, or because you think about so many things so easily, and you're very creative in all different aspects, there's also a tendency here to not think of yourself as worthy of these desires sometimes, or that you reach burnout, or you can talk yourself down and out of certain things. Like this 10 of Swords is really sticking out to me, because these 2 pages signify that you love beginning things. You love the creativity of jumping into something new, starting something new. You have ideas, like creative ideas that are just bursting out of you. But then there's a period where we might second guess ourselves, or we might talk down to ourselves. So for example, once we start embarking on this journey, we might be like, oh, well, who am I to do this? Or you might not really notice your successes, and you might notice the parts where maybe you're lacking or sort of not meeting what you expected. And so for example, if you're an artist and you're painting a picture, and you have this whole idea in your head, and say it's coming along pretty good, but maybe we're not maybe we aren't blending as good as we wanted to, and the colors are just not fully what we imagined in our head. And then it's all of a sudden you get so down on yourself, and you're just okay, this is it. I'm not good at this. I have no energy for this. Why am I doing this? Time to go back to the drawing board. And this is, I think, why you have hyper creativity, is because whenever you kind of start something and dive into something, you tend to not fully immerse yourself into that thing. You tend to kind of probably get into it and then maybe talk yourself down about it, or get some sort of burnout, and then your mind is racing oh, what's the next creative thing? And so you've kind of naturally created this hyper creativity for yourself, which is actually an amazing gift, group number 4. That's an amazing gift you have, because you can think about ideas faster than most people could ever. But you get down on yourself too much about them. Rather than celebrating the successes, rather than celebrating the parts that you're good at, to encourage you to continue on going, it's kind of like you stop yourself and you're just like digging yourself a hole, and you're just like, no, I can't do this. Why am I doing this? Like this isn't up to par. Or, again, we're trying to do way too many things at once, and we reach like a burnout because we just have so many things going on at once. And so what Spirit wants you to be aware of is the fact that encourage yourself. You need to begin encouraging yourself, because you are so creative, and you came here with this magical ability to think of ideas completely outside the box, think of all these unique ideas, and you have the ability to execute them. You have the Page of Pentacles right here, which means you have the ability and the potential to execute them, but you need more dedication, and you need a more solid plan to keep pushing yourself forward, and not in a way of where we're forcing it, because then we reach burnout, right? We need to celebrate our successes. We need to have time for ourselves where we celebrate ourselves, where we feel good about ourselves, and we begin encouraging ourselves rather than destroying ourselves, rather than ruining ourselves. Right at the top it says ruin. So rather than ruining yourself and be like, overexpending your time or being too harsh on yourself and critical of yourself, you need to switch it to encouragement and celebration over your achievements thus far, over the fact that, hey, the fact that you can even think about these ideas is already like super incredible. And also, don't let competition get in the way either, because with these 2 cards, I'm also feeling that maybe we also can get down on ourselves because we look at what other people are doing, and we might feel either competitive, or we feel like, oh, well, they already beat us to it, like I might as well just give up now. No, you have your own unique creativity about you, that whatever you create is going to be slightly different than anybody else anyway. So it doesn't matter if somebody else is doing something similar to you. You have your own unique energy. You have your own unique spins on things. You think of ideas left, right, and center, and this is creating a unique energy of you. So whatever you create is going to be slightly unique anyway. And because you think about so many things outside the box, as you begin to walk down your own road, and maybe it's similar than somebody else's, yours is going to branch off in completely different directions, because you have that creative mind that's swinging you in all different places, and you're not exactly like everybody else. So you're going to end up creating something that's unique. So you might as well just encourage yourself, celebrate who you are, celebrate the fact that you are very sensitive to creativity and all that kind of stuff, which is an amazing, amazing, amazing gift that many people wish that they had. So group number 4, you are an incredibly, incredibly powerful person who just needs encouragement from yourself. You need to begin encouraging yourself. You also need to begin to let go of worry and anxiety over these certain things. Like, you've already come so far. We have this 9 of Wands, meaning that you've learned through your own unique experience, and your unique experience has molded you into the person that you are today. And you've done trial and error with many different projects already. You've been through the trial and error of quite a few different projects. And because of that, you have under your sleeve many different knowledge sets and skill sets that are creating you into this unique person, meaning that you are going to be able to now utilize that knowledge to take whatever new idea that you have now, whatever ideas you want to pursue now. You have the knowledge under your sleeve to help you actually execute this properly and to create all of these things. You've learned a lot so far in your experience, group number 4, whether that be self-taught or things that you've learned from other people, things that you've learned through schooling or anything like that. You have so much under your sleeve. You just need the encouragement from yourself and the belief in yourself. And you need to celebrate your successes thus far, group number 4. Spirit is coming through hard, being like, you need to become aware of all that you've succeeded in thus far. And you need to start celebrating that, because that is going to give you that extra boost and motivation and belief in yourself, rather than discouraging yourself and ruining your amazing ideas before you can even fully make them come to life. So rather than getting down on yourself because you're like, oh, I kind of messed up on that part, or like, rather than noticing all the flaws, rather than noticing all the mistakes, just, be more kind with yourself and just flow through the mistakes. Just like the painter Bob Ross, he's like, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Because either way, a mistake either teaches you something, or it can end up leading your creative project down a actual new unique path that you would have never known before. So just like Bob Ross when he's painting and there's like a blob of paint that wasn't supposed to be there, he's like, there's no mistakes, just happy accidents. Let's create this into a beautiful tree now. Let's create this into like a bird in the sky, or like, so allow your mistakes to either be beautiful, encouraging lessons, or allow them to blossom into a unique creative sort of outlet that it's like creating into something new. Like, allow it to be something beautiful rather than being like, how could I have done that? I need to completely restart. It's time to get a new canvas. Like don't allow your anxiety to hold you back. Don't allow your negative thoughts to control you anymore, because those negative thoughts are not real. They're just thoughts, and your mistakes or your shortcomings can actually end up being your successes, right? Like, when we go through something and we're learning whatever, when we're a child and we have like training wheels on our bike or whatever, and we're taking them off for the first time, and we fall down because we lose our balance, we hit a rock, we're now learning like, oh hey, sometimes there's a bumpy road, we need to learn how to sit on our bike properly in order to not fall off, right? So any mistake that you make, don't discourage yourself and be like, I'm never getting on a bike again, this is awful, oh my god. Like, no, take it as a beautiful lesson from the universe of teaching you and molding you into a master. These things are molding you into a master, so use them as encouragement, use them as the energy that's leading you where you need to go, because it is. And man, do you ever have potential here with these two pages? The Page of Cups is somebody who's so unique, who thinks outside of the box, who's so different, and adds a beautiful kind of unique energy to the world that the world really needs. They're like innovators, inventors, pioneers. You're probably somebody who has a very unique energy about them, and you're very okay being different, and you probably notice that you think about things outside of the box that really excite you. You're not here to follow every single trend, although some trends may inspire you. But at the same time, you have a very unique energy about you to where you are more of a trendsetter, because you think of ideas on the forefront. You think of ideas that haven't even like come to life yet, you know what I mean? And so you have this beautiful, capable energy about you. It's just about switching to a more encouraging mindset rather than being your own downfall and pit of doom. If you encourage yourself, the amount of success that you could reach is unimaginable, group number 4, because of the fact that you offer such unique energy to the world. Whatever you offer, it can be more than you could ever imagine. Okay? And all these dreams and desires and creative, things that you think about, they really have the potential to become something physical. And you've begun lots of different things. But the reason why they haven't maybe fully come to fruition is because we get down on ourselves, and then we just think about, okay, what's the next thing I can jump to? What's the next project I can jump to? No, if you want to finish something, and if you want to get to the top, and if you want to create the best of the best of the best of the best, encourage yourself. Because that idea has the potential to be something bigger than you could ever imagine, but you need to dedicate yourself to it. And not in a way where you're forcing it. You need to allow the creativity to flow by encouraging yourself, by looking at things like Bob Ross, like there's no such thing as mistakes, there is just happy accidents. So allow it to guide you, and allow the energy to be encouraging rather than discouraging. And also another big message here is to remember to have fun as well, because when we're having fun, we rejuvenate our energy. When we are forcing, I need to work, I need to get this done. Oh, but it's going in the wrong direction. You can reach burnout. But if you remember to have fun along the way, and you remember to celebrate your successes, you remember to have fun, you remember to bring the good energy to it, you're going to energize yourself to where it's not going to burn you out. you're going to still bring in more creativity. And if you're wondering, oh, how can I make it, more creative? Or if you're reaching writer's block sometimes, going out and having fun is going to revitalize your energy, because you're going to reach a new energetic state, and it's going to inspire you, because the fun energy is inspiring energy. Any sort of different energy can inspire. And so going out and doing something slightly different is going to add more inspiration to you. And maybe even bring like a notebook with you, or, remember to write in the notes on your phone, certain things that come to you when you're out and about, because I think you're going to get inspiration from random areas that are going to help you really birth these ideas to life in better and better ways. And to also even connect to others and network with others, because the Three of Cups can sometimes also symbolize networking and getting ideas from others by, talking about like, oh, how did you, do this project of yours, whether it is in alignment with your projects or not, but, just asking them how they did it, how they get through and create their big things all the way to completion. Even hearing a unique story like that might add some beautiful inspiration to what you're doing and give you some new ideas, because your mind comes up with ideas better than the average person, that is for sure. And it is just very creative. And so that's your blessing. That's such a blessing. But don't allow it to be your downfall. Allow those ideas to come to fruition. Don't give up on them, and don't discourage yourself. Rather, encourage yourself, like we've been saying. So the next two cards that we have here for you, we have Lineage of the Rose, moved by the goddess, here for this, soul call, gather. So you have callings in certain aspects, and I think that's why you're so creative, is because there's all these different callings that you have that really resonate with you. There's certain things that really you're just moved by, and that's part of your creativity. So it's time for you to kind of just, the lineage part is like, let's connect it. Let's connect the dots. Let's move it forward rather than giving up on it. We also have Temple of the Rose. So we have Lineage of the Rose, and then we have Temple of the Rose. Ancient power, expression, activation, Scarlet Code. So ancient power. So I feel like in your lineage, there's been a lot of people who have a lot of creative ideas that maybe didn't bring them to fruition because maybe they didn't believe in themselves, or maybe they didn't have the tools that we have today, all these kinds of things. So you're super creative also through your ancestry. And that's why you're super creative and have so many ideas now, is because there's still so much energy that's been passed down that really wants to be fulfilled. And you have the power to fulfill these. It's kind of like your activation, these little thoughts that come to you, these creativities. It's activating you, saying like, hey, yes, let's do this. Let's go in this direction. And it's time to fully express that creativity, and encourage yourself, celebrate those successes that you're reaching, because that's going to really help you reach your goal and make it more tangible. The next few cards, we have Wide Open. So Wide Open is about being fully receptive and fully open to possibilities and not closing yourself off. This is not time to close yourself off, group number 4, through weighing yourself down, through ruining your own desires, through burning yourself out, through negative thinking patterns. It's time to be wide open and be like, you know what? I'm going to love the direction that I'm going in, and I'm going to guide this direction. Rather than discouraging myself and putting myself back in a hole, I'm going to encourage myself and be completely wide open to new ideas and new thoughts that can guide this into fruition, rather than discouraging myself based on my mistakes, rather than, coming back into my shell or whatever. This is time to be wide open, and also to not talk yourself out of putting your work out there. There's something that I think Spirit really wants you to do and put out there and make a physical thing. But maybe we've been discouraging ourselves or kind of nervous, like, oh, I don't want to put that out there, it's not good enough, or, blah, 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 all these things that we tell ourselves. Maybe maybe our perfectionism is coming into play. This is time to be wide open, and this is time to fully express, just like how it said in here, expression. It is time to put your work to life and to put it out there into the physical world. It's time to push it to completion and put it out there. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to live up to the standards of whatever. It needs to just be you, and you're going to learn from that. You're going to grow from all of, what you're doing, and you're going to develop because of that. But we all start somewhere. It's time to just be open and express and start doing. We also have heal the ouch. So yes, don't discourage yourself. It's time to encourage. It's time to heal these aspects of yourself, these wounds, maybe the scarcity of, getting hurt, or the scarcity of criticism or anything like this. It's time to heal these aspects of yourself and know your worth so deeply that you're like, okay, I love my work because it's unique to me, and I do love the idea that I've come up with, and maybe it's not absolute perfect, but what is? And it's time to just really start to believe in yourself and have that confidence in yourself of like, I love myself and my art and my uniqueness, Then we also have ghost lands. Don't let this, for one, don't let the ghosts of your past come in to discourage you. Don't allow certain things that we've experienced in the past discourage your future or your present. Also, no longer ghost your own self or your own projects or your own ideas. The ghost lens talks about the potential of something, the energy of something. The energy is there, and you are very good at picking up on the creative energy. And you have the ability to make it into something physical. Don't ghost your own creativity. Don't just ghost your own projects and your own desires, because they have the ability to be fulfilled, but the only reason why they haven't is because we've either been burning ourselves out through, forcing rather than having a balance of fun and work. Or again, we've been too discouraging on ourselves. Every time we make a slight mistake, we get way too harsh about it, or we let the anxiety come in and take over. Therefore, we don't end up bringing it to completion. It is time to just start believing in yourself and just start doing, and you're going to learn along the way, and things are going to develop more and more along the way. But you need to start somewhere, and we need to begin now. You have this beautiful ability, and these ideas want to come to life, okay? Like, for example, like an artist isn't going to paint the most amazing piece of artwork on their first try, but they need to start putting themselves out there at some point, and then they're going to become masters along the way. And they don't become masters without, being who they are and allowing that creativity to just flow as whatever it is, right? We also have envy. So maybe we also discourage ourselves because we're looking at what other people are doing too much. Maybe we're getting envious and being like, well, mine doesn't live up to that. Well, no, of course it doesn't. You're unique in your own way. It's never going to be like somebody else's. Anything that you do is never going to be exactly like somebody else's. So don't even try. You can pick inspiration from different people, but don't force it to be just like them, because it's never going to be. Allow things to be inspirational. If they're not, move away from it. If we're noticing we just feel envy about something, move away from it and find something that's inspirational to you. This is not time to envy anybody else or anything like that. This is time to see your own uniqueness, because people are going to love your own uniqueness. You know what I mean? Like, if your favorite, like you want to be an actor, for example, and your favorite actor is like, I don't know, like Leonardo DiCaprio or something, and then you have your own unique style, but you're trying so hard to be like Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like, well, you're never going to be. You have your own unique style. You're going to be your own unique person. And let's say you come up and you're like, I don't know, Johnny Depp or something. I don't know. I'm just pulling out random actors' names. And so imagine Johnny Depp trying to be like Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like, we're so glad he's not like Leonardo DiCaprio, because they're completely two different people that offer two different roles, and they're both amazingly talented people. But it's like, thank God they didn't try to be like one another, because they could never be. You know what I mean? So don't try to be like somebody else, and don't feel like you are a shortcoming because you're not like somebody else, because you don't live up to somebody else. It's that you're not even comparable to anybody else. So there's no point in comparing yourself to anybody else, because you are incomparable. And, there's going to be fans of Johnny Depp and fans of Leonardo DiCaprio. that are like, oh, I'm so glad that you are the way that you are. You really resonate with me. So thank God you're not becoming like somebody else. Thank God you're not in somebody else's shoes. You're in your own unique shoes, and you're going to have something unique to offer that people are going to look at and be like, wow, this is so unique and so amazing. And you could be someone else's favorite artist or favorite person or favorite inventor. So don't envy other people in their positions. You are unique. And that is the beauty of it. So it's time to calm the envious sides of yourself by encouraging yourself and celebrating your successes, celebrating your uniqueness, because the more that you do that, the more that you are going to emphasize those beautiful uniquenesses, the more that you are going to grow those beautiful uniquenesses. Rather than if you focus on your flaws, then we're going to grow that, because that's what we're focusing on, right? So focus on your amazingness, and that is going to grow, and you're going to grow yourself into exactly who you're meant to be, and that person is meant to be unique, okay? We also have rest and rejuvenation. So yes, that's super important. And that card is like perfectly fit into here, because as I was saying with the Ten of Swords, there might also be a tendency to burn out. There might also be a tendency where you notice that maybe you're not pushing projects to completion, and then you try to force your way into that, realm. But we cannot do that, because we burn ourselves out. And then that's when we also are like, okay, I'm no longer inspired by this project. It just feels like a weight to me. It's going to feel like a weight to you if you've pushed it so far to where you've begun to hate it. Of course, that's going to happen. We need to have that balance between loving doing it and then having fun elsewhere and completely removing ourselves from that and then coming back to it. We cannot just fully be in it and fully just drive it home, you know what I mean? It is important to have that determination and willpower, absolutely, but we need that balance of rest and rejuvenation to rejuvenate our energy to where we're not burning ourselves out, to where we feel like we're burnt crisp and that we have nothing left to give, because then we're going to end up hating our projects rather than loving our projects. Also going to restart my camera really quick so it doesn't die out on us. Okay, we are back. And then the last few cards that we have Judge. Okay, so the light attributes, the more we begin to encourage ourselves and move in a positive direction, we have balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of power. So yes, balancing justice, which is kind of like, balancing our willpower and our determination and what we need to do with compassion and encouragement. Managing the fair distribution of power. We cannot put all of our power into just project, and we cannot put all of our power into just fun and play. We need a balance. The shadow attributes, the more we fall out of balance and the more that we begin to discourage ourselves. We have offering only destructive criticism, which fits with you so well. Group number 4, does this card ever fit with you well? And I've only read the first line on the bottom part. But yeah, shadow attributes, if we're not moving in the right direction and we're going back into our criticism and whatnot, this is offering only destructive criticism rather than encouraging constructive criticism. We have misusing business, legal, or criminal authority. So that part's probably less relevant in this case, but it's still relevant in a sense, because it's kind of like we misuse our own energy by discouraging ourselves. That's energy we could have used to encourage ourselves, right? We also have guide. So again, in the positive light, when we're using this in a positive way and we're encouraging ourselves, we have represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. So you are divinely unique and your energy is guiding you in a unique way. So instead of discouraging yourself over your mistakes or over, different things that you have, instead of discouraging yourself because of that, it's we can move into the encouragement, and then we see that we have the divine within us already. The divine is within you. You have your own uniqueness, right? But then the shadow attribute, if we're discouraging ourselves, we have places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. So this is when we're only doing things for money, for example, rather than doing something because we love it. If we're only doing it for money, we're not going to feel as inspired about it. We're not even going to put in the right energy. So if you're creating art just for money and you're like, oh, I'm going to, just do blah work and sell it for hundreds of thousands of dollars, people are going to feel that within the work, because you can tell that there wasn't love and passion in the work. We can tell that it was just a quick gain for money. You can kind of just feel when something is a little bit off in that direction. So if you want to create beautiful pieces of work that people are inspired by, that they love, that is actually worth that amount of money, we need to put our love and encouragement into it and our good energy, because no one wants to buy art that was made with a lack of creativity and just for financial gain, because that art's not even going to look like it was made with love. We have to love what we're doing, and then people can feel that and see that within our work. The last card that we have here is Goddess. So the light attribute, the encouraging side, the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. So yes, that's our goddess energy. When we're really feeling ourselves, we're feeling our uniqueness, and we're encouraging ourselves, and we found who we are at our core, and we can feel our energy at our core. Like those of you listening to this right now, if you're still here, put your hand over your heart and begin to really tap into your heart energy, and close your eyes and just kind of bring your awareness to your heart where your hands are. Feel that core energy of yourself. That is your unique light. That is your unique light. That is what wants to shine, and that is unique. You have your own, it's like a fingerprint. Nobody has the same energy as you. It is time to feel that energy and love that energy and grow that energy and encourage that energy into its height, into its peak. And there honestly is no peak. There is no peak. You cannot reach your maximum height because it's infinite. You have infinite energy here. Okay, so it's time to feel into that uniqueness and be it and own it, rather than discouraging yourself and feeling the exploitation of female nature and form, rather than exploiting yourself, or rather than compromising yourself in order to, compromising yourself and not fully allowing your light to shine, basically. Rather than discouraging yourself and compromising yourself in those aspects. Allow your energy to shine. Group number 4. You have such a beautiful, unique energy to offer this world, and I think people would be very inspired by you as long as you tap into that unique energy that you own and that you have, and allow that to be your fingerprint, and be encouraging and celebrate your successes no matter how big or small. Start to encourage yourself, because that's going to lead you with the proper energy to where you need to go. So, with that being said, that is what Spirit wants you to be aware of, an aspect of yourself that wants to have awareness so that you can reach your ultimate success. Your unique light wants to be noticed and wants to be shined, rather than being envious of others, because then you're really compromising yourself, because you're almost saying like somebody else's energy is better than mine. No, my love. Oh, group number 4, you have such a beautiful, unique energy to offer this world. That's why you're so uniquely creative in all these avenues and aspects. And it's time to really just own that and be that, and see that your own light is unique on its own, and that you are going to be your own unique person. And that's amazing. That deserves to be celebrated. And your uniqueness, the fact that you're not the same as everybody else, needs to be celebrated. So even just celebrate that with me right now, and just kudos to you, group number 4. You are unique, and you are amazing, and you have something unique to offer this world, and I cannot wait to see what you bring to this world and create on this planet, because we love to have you here and we love this creative energy. And again, this reading is meant to encourage you, and it's meant to bring awareness to what needs transformation. So again, don't be hard on yourself for this realization. Don't be like, oh, I cannot believe I've been this way. How could I have held myself back in these ways? That is not the intention of this reading. This reading has the intention of encouraging you and helping you see maybe where you're being too hard on yourself, so that we can let that go. Okay? It's time to let that go so that you can burst into the beauty of yourself. Okay? So tap into that heart energy by putting your hands over your heart. Bring that awareness to your heart. Feel that energy and allow that to inspire you and bring you to your greatness. Group number 4. Because you are great. And whatever you are creating is going to be amazing, and it is going to be unique, and that is amazing in itself. Okay, so Whew. With that being said, group number 4, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope that you got something out of this, and I hope you feel inspired and encouraged and with a new sense of awareness that can help you push you towards accepting yourself and loving what you do so much to where you are, coming out, being wide open with all these new projects, and you're also going to be receiving more ideas that help bring your projects to fruition, because they're going to branch off. And if you're feeling stuck at certain areas, just be wide open and continue on and encourage yourself, because as you encourage yourself, you are still moving up that ladder, and you're going to see different branches that are moving off in different directions that will lead you to this project to completion, or will lead you to the destiny that you are trying to get to. So allow it to unfold as it unfolds, and begin to encourage yourself, because that is how you're going to continue moving forward on this road, is by encouragement, not discouragement, because then we're moving ourselves backwards. And that's why some things are not getting done, and why we feel like we're not moving forward on certain aspects. It is because we've been using discouragement rather than encouragement. We need to encourage and move forward. So that is how we get the ball rolling again. That is how we get the stream flowing to its goal. So yes, I'm sending you all of my love, group number 4. I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos like this in the future, because I would absolutely love to have you there. And then hopefully I see you in my next one. Bye. All right, so group number 5, if you chose this pile, this is going to be your reading, so let's hop right into it. All right, so group 5, here's what we have for you. We have the 3 of Pentacles, we have Death, we have the Wheel of Fortune, the 2 of Swords, we have the Sun, we have the 6 of Cups, then we have the 9 of Cups over here. So, whew, what a layout of cards. So one thing that I'm noticing right off the bat is the fact that we have 2 of Swords right front and center. This is being closed off to something, and what we have over here, this is what we need to add awareness of, because this is kind of like what you're closing yourself off of, and this right here is your potential. So this is what we need awareness of, is this 2 of Swords right here. And this reading, by the way, is meant to be transformative in an encouraging way. My intention behind telling you any of this is to show you your real potential, not for you to leave this reading and feel bad or feel like you need to be harsh with yourself or anything like that. That is not the intention. I want you to walk away from this reading being encouraged and feeling like part of yourself has been awakened in the best possible way ever. That is my intention here. So let's get into it. The 2 of Swords represents that we are currently closed off to something, and what we need to add awareness of is the 3 of Pentacles, the Death, and the Wheel of Fortune. There is something major here, by the way. The Death and Wheel of Fortune are 2 very major arcana cards, and this is being closed off to change. Part of you might think that whatever life has given you so far is what you are and pretty much all that you'll ever be. There's a part of you that may think that, wherever the wheel has landed, that's what you've been given, and that's pretty much what we get. There's this idea here where maybe we don't feel like we have as much options or availability or ability to shift or change our lives than we may realize. There's maybe a feeling that there's maybe certain personality traits that you have where you're just like, oh, well, I am a shy person, or I am this type of person, or I am, that type of person, or whatever. You might think that that's just who you are, but what you don't realize is you actually have more control and more say over that than you realize. And with the way that maybe you were born, or the city you were born in, the family that you have, the type of financial situation that you've come into, or whatever the case may be, you might feel like, oh, well, that's what life has given me, and that's just who I am. That's who I am, that's where I am. There could be certain belief systems here where we think that whoever we currently are is pretty much all we'll ever be, or we don't realize that we have such a deep ability to change, a very deep ability to change and to create something very different. We might just be closed off to that right now and kind of feel like we're bound by whatever we've been given. I'm here to tell you, group number 5, you are not bound by what you were given. The Wheel of Fortune has spun, but we're actually secretly the ones that are spinning that Wheel of Fortune, and it's a limitation. Some of us, when we're raised a certain way, we get ingrained belief systems from our family, usually, from our parents. They might believe certain things or say certain things, and therefore we believe that as truth. They might say like, oh, money is hard to come by, and therefore we're very limited and we're stuck on that as well. And we think like, oh, money is hard to come by, and the rich are the ones who stay rich, and the poor are the ones who stay poor, and the middle class is the ones that stay middle class. If we believe that, then of course that's going to be a very limiting belief, and we're not even going to try to reach further because we already believe that we are what we are. But that is not true. There is so many cases of, some of the richest people that we have today have come from nothing, and have come from, a place where they never thought it would ever be possible for them to be in the place that they are right now. There's countless stories of that happening. Of course, there's also countless stories of, the rich staying rich and the poor staying poor. There's also countless stories of that. But the fact that there's countless stories on both ends of that spectrum means that that's just a belief. If you believe either or, that is just a belief, because there's clearly possibilities on either side of the spectrum. It depends on which side of the spectrum we want to put ourselves and we want to place ourselves. So you can break the mold. You can break the pattern. You can break the wheel. You can land this wheel of fortune wherever you want to put it. You just need to realize that you actually have the ability to grab the wheel of fortune and change it and shift it. You have that ability. Group number 5, you have that ability. You have the ability to change. The Death card is one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. In fact, it's one of my favorite cards in the deck. And a lot of people kind of like read the word and they're like, oh my God, that sounds so bad. It's actually one of the best cards in the deck because it talks about transformation. And it basically is similar to like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly and going through that sort of transformation, right? You have that ability. You don't need to stay a caterpillar. You can become a butterfly and grow wings and, become more free and go wherever you want. You have that ability. But right now, all of this is being closed off. We're shutting it down. We're not seeing our true power. We're not seeing our true essence. Look, there's like a sun that's trying to beam out over here, but the swords are kind of like standing in its way. They're taking some of that light. And it's so funny because the next card that we have is literally the Sun card. The sun wants to rise. The more that we take down our limiting beliefs, because the swords are our thoughts, they're our mind, right? Your mind is getting in your way. Your thoughts are standing in your way. They're your only obstacle right now. Those swords that are covering, and those swords represent your mind, your limitations, the beliefs that you put on yourself, and the protection that you want to put on yourself. You might want to protect yourself from failure. You might want to protect yourself from whatever. That's a mental belief. It's not physical reality. Even if you try and fail at something, the only real failure is when you stop trying, right? Because there's always going to be challenges. So if you try to go in a different direction, you try to start your own business and and say it's like, the first year is a little bit hard, that doesn't mean it's failed. That doesn't mean that. You are putting that limitation on yourself. You're like, oh, if it doesn't take off in a year, that means it's failed. No, that just means, hey, what have we learned in the past year? What do we need to change in order to start growing more, in order to make this successful? If you want to be successful, you need to get rid of the word failure in your mind completely, because there's no such thing as failure. Failure is just when we give up on something. There's always going to be challenge. But the only time we ever fail at something is when we look at a challenge or obstacle and we say, that's too hard to get over, I'm going to give up. That is what failure is. But that is a mental decision. It's not physical reality. There's nothing in physical reality that actually says failure. If you take a test and you fail at it, you failed at that test, you can take that test again. You can go back to the drawing board, you can learn and take a test again. And there's certain maybe rules that schools have with not being able to take a test again, and that is what it is. But like at the same time, it's not necessarily failure, because we can go back and do it over again. There's always options in this world to go back, and either we have to redo a course or we need to, try a little bit harder. But there's always ways around an obstacle. It doesn't have to be failure unless we mentally tell ourselves, well, that's it, I'm giving up. Giving up is failure. Trying and continuing is not failure. That is getting to your goal and getting over obstacles, which we all have obstacles. There's not one rich person on this planet who's like not reached obstacles, you know what I mean? So are you going to push beyond them, Or are you going to let them be your failure? Or are you going to let them discourage you and put you back into, becoming smaller again? And I'm not saying that riches is everything. I'm just using that as an example in this reading, but this could apply to any different area or goal that you have in life. Again, money's not everything, but it's just a very easy example to use. That's why I'm using it in this reading. But this also deals with your personality too. So maybe you have a dream to do something, but maybe you're like, oh, well, my personality doesn't fit that. For example, like people that want to be like a public speaker or, be on camera, and then they're just telling themselves like, oh, I'm not good on camera. Well, guess what? Nobody's born being good on camera. There's not one person that I've ever met that's been born being good on camera. Even when I, for example, first started my YouTube channel, awful videos, was not good at being on camera at all. But after years and years of doing it, you get more comfortable and it feels more natural, and all of a sudden you gain that skill. So wherever your personality is not fixed. It never has been, it never will be. You will always be developing. And so whoever that you desire to develop into in order to meet what you desire to be and the desires that you want to achieve, you can adjust yourself to become that. You can adjust yourself to become that. There has been countless stories of people also getting over, certain other hindrances that have been hindering them and stopping them from becoming who they want to become. There's countless stories that you can read on that. So to say that everything is fixed, there's always going to be somebody who had a miracle that got beyond it anyway, meaning that it's not fixed. Your current state of being is not fixed because there's people who got out of it anyway, meaning that there's no way it can be actually physically 100% truth that is fixed. You know what I mean? There's people that have been told like, oh, you're going to be paraplegic. You got into this blah, blah, car accident. You can't walk anymore. And then they don't take that. They don't take no for an answer. And they're like, I am going to somehow walk again. I'm not walking. You know what I mean? And then they've actually somehow overcome their diagnosis. Like, how is that possible? Willpower, determination, doing, not giving up. Giving up, again, is failure. That is when we fail at something. But we don't need to give up. Even if we are bad at something right now, maybe we're bad at socializing and being super social, but maybe the job that we want requires being really good at socialization and networking. You can become good. We just need to put ourselves into that scenario and not give up. Giving up, again, is failure. If we give up, we say like, oh, well, I tried, it didn't work. It's not going to work right away. We need to learn, we need to grow. And what Spirit really wants you to know, group number 5, is you have the ability to change, and you have the ability to change your fortune. You have both of these right next to each other. Amazing cards. You have the ability to transform yourself into that butterfly, and you also have the ability to grab hold of this wheel of fortune and change your fortune. You have that ability, but there's limitations and beliefs that you cannot, or fears that you cannot. You might fear changing your fortune because then that means we do have to become something more. There could be fear around success even, because then that means we actually have to put ourselves out there and do the thing that we desire to do. Sometimes that can be scary. You know what I mean? But it gets less scary the more that we try and the more that we do. 3 of Pentacles says that you're also unique. 3 of Pentacles means that you're very unique. You have a uniqueness about you. But sometimes we might try to fit in the mold of those that are around us. This can also mean that one of our limitations is that we try to fit to the mold of the people that are around us, and we try to shift ourselves and change ourselves to the people that we are surrounded by. And we're not allowing our uniqueness to shine. You have a very unique energy, group number 5. Everyone on this planet does. We don't need to, people please in order to fit in. Because when we people please, we're not being authentically us, and then our friends don't really know who we fully are, and they're liking a mask that we're wearing. They're not liking us because we're not being fully ourselves anyway. Therefore, they don't know who we are. They're liking some sort of mask that we're portraying. If you want real friends and you want to find people that really love you, it is time to embrace your uniqueness and allow yourself to transform. And your friends should love you for who you are and who you're transforming into. Otherwise, they're not your real friends anyway. You know what I mean? So who cares if we lose friends that were fake friends anyway? Another thing to be aware of is like, hey, allow your uniqueness to shine. And if you're not resonating with certain people truly on a deep level, then what's the point? What is the point? Being accepted sure feels good, but our mask is being accepted. It's not us. So if we want true acceptance, we don't want to feel fake, or we don't want to feel anxiety, because a lot of the times when we wear a mask a lot and we people please a lot, we garner tons of anxiety. And a lot of us wonder like, oh, why do I have so much anxiety? Well, are you wearing a mask? Are you being real with the people that are around you? Because a lot of times when we wear a mask and we don't feel truly accepted, because part of our deep soul knows that, hey, I'm not really being myself anyway, so am I being really accepted? Who knows? That's anxiety. And anxiety is also when we have so much energy, but it's not having a proper outlet. We have all these desires, but they're not having an outlet, and we keep them inside. And when we have so much energy built up inside of us, of course, it's going to feel like a volcano of energy, and which turns into anxiety. When we're anxious about something, we can be anxious because out of excitement, right? But it's a buildup of energy that doesn't have an outlet yet because the thing hasn't happened yet. So anxiety is literally just a buildup of energy that has no outlet, no proper outlet. So allow your real energy to shine, and it'll have a proper outlet, and it will diminish some of the anxiety that you have. Okay? On the other side of this, once we start letting down these walls, once we start opening ourselves up and realizing our true potential, which, baby, you have a potential, let me tell you, the Sun card. That is one of the best cards in the deck as well. It's also a major arcana card, and it talks about fully, authentically shining your light to the point where you're just open, you're having fun, and you enjoy being you because it feels good to completely shine your light rather than hindering it, rather than closing it off. When we close it off, ooh, does anxiety ever fester and grow? But right when we remove these swords, which are our fears, our limitations, our restrictions over ourselves, when we remove that, we just say, you know what, I'm going to be open anyway. We allow our light to shine. Therefore, our energy is having an outlet, and we're shining fully. We're being open and authentic. There's no anxiety in the Sun card. The Sun card doesn't even know what anxiety is, because it's being open and fully authentic and following its dreams and desires. And when we're doing that, when we're shining our light, we're fulfilling our purpose, and it feels so good. And the amount of success that you could have, let's talk about this. Once this is removed and we add awareness over this, and we start to realize that we're more than we could ever imagine, and that we can really create ourselves and our future and our lives. And when you take back that control and you start to fully step into the authenticity of you rather than closing yourself off, you'll kind of return to who you are at your core. The Six of Cups, you're going to return to who you are at your core. And once you start shining this, you're going to begin attaining lots of your dreams. The Nine of Cups is the card of gaining a wish and a deep desire, and it all of a sudden being fulfilled. And this is about being really proud of yourself too, because the original depiction of this card on the original kind of tarot deck, the Rider-Waite, it is a man sitting on a bench with a bunch of cups lined up behind him, and he's sitting there looking so satisfied and so proud of himself. There's an energy where maybe you're not super proud of yourself right now. Maybe you're not feeling, I'm sure you're proud of yourself in some ways, right? But you're not sitting there being like, I am so satisfied with my life. I feel amazing about my life. I am proud of it. Look at all that I've attained. Like, if you want that energy, you need to start realizing that you already have that potential within you. We need to start breaking down those walls, shining your authenticity, and fully going for what you desire, and encouraging yourself in that direction, and knowing that, hey, any obstacle that comes my way, if I just don't give up and I get through it, I'm going to get closer to my goal, and then closer to my goal, and then closer, right? It's kind of like going down a street when you're going from your house to the beach, you know? Like, if you're driving there and you hit a red light and you're like, oh, there's a red light, guys, might as well go back. Like, there was an obstacle here. Like, it's clearly telling us no. The universe is saying no, it's a red light. It's like, of course you're going to reach red lights. Of course you're going to reach obstacles. But we wait. We do what we need to do. You know, maybe there's construction and a road is closed. Maybe our main road that we normally take is closed. Well, there's always back streets. There's always ways around that. There's always other options. You know, maybe the beach that we wanted to go to was closed. Well, let's go down a little bit. Let's go south or north a little bit. Then there's going to be a beach that's open. We don't need to give up on going to the beach just because there's obstacles in the way. We don't need to give up on our goals just because we reach obstacles. And it doesn't need to be failure either. It's not failure unless you deem it failure. It is your mindset, is your perspective that either keeps you in a box or allows you to take control of that wheel. Either we let the wheel control us, we let the wheel of fortune control us and we let it decide where it lands, or we grab hold of that wheel of fortune and we move it to where we want it to land. It's up to you, whatever you desire. And so this is what Spirit wants you to be aware of, is this aspect of yourself, is like your real potential. Group number 5 is because could you ever attain some deep desires of yours if you begin to harness your own energy and take more deliberate control over your life? We can't control others, but we can control ourselves and what we do with the time that we're given. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into some more cards that we have here. So group 5, we also have the Bloom. Ooh, creations real. Look at this. Look at this card, what this says. Creations realized. Once you remove this, once you let down the fear, once you let down the mask, the inauthenticity, I'm not saying that you're like super inauthentic or anything. We all, sometimes put on masks to be accepted. It's like natural human nature. But once we kind of get beyond that, we realize that we've been doing that. We allow our real authenticity to shine, which is what we're all meant to do anyway, So don't feel bad for that. Don't feel like, oh, I've been you have not been a bad person. But this is just a great realization so that you can birth into the real you, your real potential, your real authenticity, because that's going to feel good, baby. And then you're going to find people that really resonate with you, and you're going to begin to notice that you can attain your dreams and not be stuck in fear or not be stuck in stagnation or feeling like life is in control of you. You're going to realize creations realized. Your creative energy can be actualized and realized. It is time to harvest and celebrate. So this is what's blooming. You are going to bloom. If you get rid of these swords, which are like clouds in the sky, you're going to let your full light shine. This sun is going to bloom. Your inner energy is going to bloom. Okay? It's time to allow yourself to bloom. Allow yourself to bloom, group 5. We also have the breathing rose, heart healing. Okay, it's time to heal your heart and encourage yourself, not discourage yourself, okay? That's one of the major concepts that I talked about in the last pile, is like, don't discourage yourself. It's time to encourage yourself and not be hard on yourself either. This is not a time to be hard on yourself for, your old way of being. This reading is to add insight and awareness over a certain aspect of ourselves so that we can bloom into who we're meant to be, into our real potential. So heart healing, love yourself into this stage. Don't be hard on yourself, because you're not going to remove these swords by being hard on yourself and being like, why are these there? I need to remove them. No, the only way to remove them is just allow yourself to bloom. Allow yourself to allow your soul to shine. No more hindering your soul. And it's going to take time, so don't be hard on yourself if it doesn't happen overnight, right? We remove our swords one by one through awareness. We remove those negative limitations through awareness when we notice that they're coming up. So if you're, trying to do something and then you have those, limiting beliefs come up again, and those discouraging thoughts or those fears, we just bring awareness to them kindly and we allow ourselves to bloom through them anyway. So allow yourself to just bloom anyway. Don't be hard on yourself, and don't be like, why am I thinking these thoughts again? I'm standing in my own way. Don't be hard on yourself, because then you're just adding more swords. So encourage yourself. Just be a rose and just bloom naturally, and be patient with yourself, kind to yourself, heart healing, connection, time eases. So over time, this is going to ease as we bring awareness to these areas, right? And we're slowly going to blossom into our real potential. We also have sad embrace. So if you've been noticing that certain anxieties come up, it's okay to be there for yourself, right? But at the same time, I really see you getting over this. Maybe a lot of the times we thought that we were stuck because of what life has given us, and we've felt bad for ourselves. But that's when we kind of get stuck into victimhood. But that's when we also give our energy away. When we get stuck in victimhood and we say, oh, life gave me this, that I'm stuck here because of life, we're giving our power up to life. We're giving our power up to an external circumstance, saying it's that thing's fault that I'm here where I am. But when we take our power back and we go, okay, well, no, it's my fault that I'm here where I am, because I have the power to change. You give yourself back that power by saying, I have the power to change my life right now. So I'm taking my power back, and I'm no longer going to be in victimhood. I'm going to take my own power back and tell myself, like, hey, I have the power to get out of this. I have the power to change my life and my future. So no longer just feeling sorry for ourselves. It's time to, be the reason that we excel and that we reach our goals and our desires. We also have storm fields. So, I feel like you've gone through a lot in life, group number 5. I feel like you in particular, those of you that are watching this, have gone through quite a bit in life, right? Maybe we feel like life is harsh sometimes, but we have the ability to change our fortune. And what Spirit really wants you to know is you have that ability. It has been in front of you this whole time, and don't feel bad about that. Feel amazing about that. Allow that to be something that encourages you into being the reason why you reach this, because you're going to reach this. You're going to reach this 9 of Cups, which is attaining a deep desire and wish. You are absolutely going to reach that the more that you begin to take down these limitations and these swords and encourage yourself and allow your authenticity to shine. Allow your light to shine. Okay? We also have education. So there could even be a desire here to learn new things. And I'm also seeing you guys reading, and a lot of, one of the books that I would highly recommend this group reading is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza, or Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Those 2 books are pretty life-changing. And also, Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King would also be an amazing read, especially that one's more of an easy read. So if you want something easy to read, if you haven't been reading in a while and you want something that's easy, Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King is so relevant to this group. I'm just gonna say it one more time just in case you didn't hear me. Get the book, Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. That will educate you in all of what I'm saying right now, instead of just being a quick little video. That will really explain how you can actually do this properly, okay? But basically, this is the awareness that it wants you to have, is you actually do have this power. The whole message behind this group number 5, is adding the awareness on the fact that, you can take back control of your life, and you also can change your life and achieve some of your biggest, deepest desires. In fact, all of your biggest, deepest desires. You can achieve those all. Group 5, that is the awareness that Spirit wants you to have, is that life is not in control of you unless we allow it to be. You can also take back control over your life. We also have the 4th chakra, Archangel Raphael. This is the heart chakra. So this is tapping into your heart and what your heart wants. What I just told for the previous group was put your hands over your heart and really feel into your heart. So close your eyes, put your hands on your heart, and bring your awareness down into your heart and feel that energy that's there. Feel that there's such a strong energy that's in your heart. Okay? Give it encouragement and love. That is the real you. And that is also, this journey is going to help you kind of really heal your heart. We also have cornucopia. So there's lots of abundance waiting for you. There's actually so much abundance waiting for you. The fact that we have this card, group 5, there is so much abundance on this planet. There is an abundance of greatness. There's an abundance of not greatness. There's an abundance of everything, depending on the direction that you go in. We could either go in this direction or we can go in this direction. Storm fields are also about shifting change. So when destruction happens, it's also beauty. So when, for example, a forest fire allows a forest to rebirth and renew, because otherwise the soil doesn't have enough nitrogen and nutrients to sustain a forest. So forest fires are actually nature's way of renewing a forest and making it healthy and green again. Although it's destruction, right? So even destruction in our own lives, hardships in our own lives, are a way of renewing so that we can continue going forward in a stronger, more vital way. Just like going to the gym, where our muscles get sore, it hurts, but it's actually good for us, right? So a lot of these things that you've experienced are actually really good for you. And you have so much potential because of going through that. You've actually built up so much energy and potential and strength from going through that. And the more that we now let down our fears and we let go of our fears and we more step into our power, the more that we're going to be able to then attain, because you've already been through so much, which has made you such a powerful person. Okay, so I'm going to restart my camera really quick before it cuts out. All right, we are back. The last few cards that we have here, we have the Hermit. So the light attributes, this is you going into your power, is seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, serves personal creativity. So this is reflection on your life in a positive way. Being able to reflect on your past, being alone, and being able to see the real you and learn from that so that you can move in a positive direction. Versus the shadow attribute, so if we're going in the closed off direction, is withdrawals from society out of fear or negative judgments of others. So when we hide our light and we withdraw our true authenticity out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need, because honestly, we might be in need in those moments. So instead, we can take down our fears, we can start to shine our light and start to love ourselves and step into that confidence. Then we would only ever seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, and it would serve our personal creativity rather than hindering us. The mediator, so if we are moving, towards the growth and expansion and authenticity and opening ourselves up and taking back control of our lives, the light attributes would be gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. So rather than being very closed-minded or closed off towards others, closed off towards others' opinions or other perspectives, right? Rather than closing yourself off immediately when somebody does something that you don't like, or like closing off yourself immediately because somebody disagrees with you, or blah, 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 rather than feeling deep hurt and fear when people are not in alignment with you. Rather than feeling that, we would feel fairness and we would have respect for both sides of an argument. We would feel very open and we wouldn't be as bothered by different perspectives or different things. We wouldn't be even remotely bothered by it because we would have respect for both sides of an argument. We would have a gift for negotiating fairness and seeing fairness within our personal life, our professional life, and within our friendships and other relationships. The shadow attribute, so when we're closing ourselves off, we have negotiating with an ulterior motive. You know what I mean? So like maybe we are trying to sway somebody to our way of thinking, or hidden agendas, either personally or professionally. So this is when we unconsciously are trying to sway people to our opinion just so that we don't feel alone on our opinion, so that we feel like we are empowered in what we believe, rather than, being open and allowing other people to think what they think and do what they do. It would let go of judgment. It would let go of all that kind of stuff. Ooh, and then we have the prostitute card. That's interesting. So, the light aspect of this card when we're in our power is accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. So it is important to be able to survive and attain what we want without negotiating our values or giving up our values or our spirit or our soul or our power in order to get something. Because the shadow attribute, when we're not in our power, it says places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. So are we compromising ourselves for security? Are we compromising ourselves for material considerations? Right? That's the negative aspect of this. Are we compromising ourselves in order to feel safe? Or are we going to accentuate the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit or your values? Then we also have saboteur. So in the light aspect, again, when we're focused on the awakening of ourselves and the authenticity and the light and all that, it highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the challenges it would bring to your life. So I think this would add awareness. You would all of a sudden get awareness over your fear of self-empowerment and the changes it would bring to your life. So I feel like you'd be able to get over that rather than self-sabotage yourself. It's because the shadow attribute induces self-destructive behavior or the desire to undermine others. So we might fall into gossiping about other people who have success, or gossiping about other people in general, because we desire to undermine them in order for us to feel better, in order for us to feel greater, right? So are we sabotaging others because it makes us feel better through our words or through our gossip or through our actions? Do we get some sort of like satisfaction out of watching other people fail? Does it give us satisfaction because we're like, ooh, now you understand what it's like, you know? That's a negative aspect. That's an unhealed aspect of ourselves. That is not a positive thing to think. That is an unhealed aspect of us that gets satisfaction out of that because of our own lack of self-empowerment to reach success. So if we go in this direction, we'll all of a sudden understand and see our fear of self-empowerment and the changes that it would bring to our lives. And through that awareness, we would then see how we've been self-sabotaging ourselves and how we've been standing in our own way. Whereas we could step into our own light by going in this direction. So again, all of this, group number 5, is not meant to call you out. It is not meant to make you feel bad for the way that you are. It is just meant to add awareness so that we can let go of old ways of being, and we can kind of maybe see and gain awarenesses over our old ways of being so that we can actually step into our real power, so that we can step into attaining our desires rather than letting them stand in our way, right? Rather than letting life control us. This is meant to add awareness that you actually have control over life. You also have control over your mindset and what you attain, but this is about you being able to overcome these things and shine your light and be authentic with who you really are. Say what's really on your mind. And again, not in a negative way, because when we have negative judgments over others, it actually just stems from our negative judgments over ourselves. What you notice in the world is what you notice within yourself, and the areas of yourself that you're maybe overly critical with, that you are maybe noticing that you have underneath it all. Everything is a reflection. So your judgments over others say more about you and the areas that we need to heal rather than about the other people, right? So this is about being able to heal these aspects. And again, this is not meant to be discouraging in any way at all. This is meant to add the encouragement for us to shift and to add awareness on what is holding us back. Because that would be holding us back, right? This would be self-sabotage. That's a form of self-sabotage, rather than, empowering yourself and becoming a light of empowerment for others too. Because when we begin to empower ourselves, we naturally will begin to gravitate towards empowering others as well. When we learn how to empower ourselves, when we become very critical over ourselves and harsh over ourselves and harsh over our life, that is when we begin to become harsh over others and judgmental over others. That stems from internal judgment. Everything starts within. When we begin to really encourage ourselves and shine our light and shine our best, that is also when we're going to begin seeing that in the world and projecting that into the world. Therefore, our view of others is going to be of empowering them, desiring to empower them, desiring for them to see their best, right? So it all stems from within. So this is an area of transformation. It's time to bloom out of that. It is time to bloom out of that with this beautiful awareness, group number 5. And again, this is not a time to, and the intention of this reading is not intended to make you feel bad. We all go through these moments. We all go through judgment. Nobody is wrong for ever, judging. It's all just a different aspect of life. It's a different phase of life. So don't feel harsh on yourself for ever being this way. We all have moments of being this way. Every single one of us on this planet. None of us are perfect. And within that, there is perfection, because none of us are perfect. Therefore, everything already is perfect. But if you want to live your best life and feel like your light is shining and reach your biggest goals and desires, we're going to need to begin to get out of our own way and begin to let go of some of our judgments over ourselves, which in turn lets go of our judgments of others more and allows more freedom, allows others to be more free, and allows us to be more free. Again, I highly recommend reading the book Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. It's an amazing book for this particular group. I think it would be very relevant to this pile. And I see so much light within you. Group 5, I really want you to know I see so much light within you. The fact that we have the Sun card right here, there's also so much transformation that's waiting to take place. And so much success that's waiting to be realized by you. There's so much success in front of you, but this is all about stepping out of our own way, allowing harsh thoughts or fears begin to melt away and step into a place of self-encouragement, which in turn will be the desire to also encourage others, because whatever we do within is also what we do without. So if we judge within very harshly, we also have very harsh judgments of anything external, including people and places and things. That's because it stems from internally first. So once we get rid of that, we begin to shine our own light, we begin to encourage ourselves more, and that will stem externally as well, and also cause a lot of things in your life to go your way. Because one little secret of manifestation that I'm going to add on here, group number 5, I know this is a long reading, but one little secret of manifestation: the energy that you exhibit to the world, or that you exude in the world, if you're exuding judgmental energy, of course, nothing is going to receive that very well. So if we're going out in the world and we're showing lots of judgment, lots of hate, or lots of, viewing things in a more negative way, or a fearful way, or a closed off way, nothing is going to react good to you. Because if you think about how you react to things that are overly judgmental, or how you would react to things that are overly closed off, or things like that, your reaction to them would not be very good, of course. But when you reach something that lights up your soul, that feels like a beacon of light, that feels so good, the sun's shining, it feels great, how does that make you feel? How would you react to that? You'd react very positively. So think about your energy, the energy that you exude to the world. Once we break down some of our barriers, some of our fears and ways that you are hiding your light, when we step into our light, our potential, our encouragement, our positivity, and we exude that into the world, that is what the world will reflect back to you. So that is one of the secrets of manifestation. Whatever energy you exude is what gets reflected back to you. So that's what we have. We have the cornucopia. There's so much abundance waiting for you, group number 5. So much abundance. So much right in front of you. But it's all about us removing, our limiting beliefs, our fears, and the parts of ourselves that are standing in our own way, and our judgments and things like that. And of course, we all have judgments. We're not going to be perfect and go without judgment in life. That's not realistic. We're always going to have judgments, but we can soften those judgments. We can begin to become more soft with ourselves, and therefore more soft with the world as well. And not in a soft way, but in a more calming, loving way. We can have loving judgments rather than super harsh, stabbing judgments. Okay, I'm just going off here. I'm just really going off on this reading. It has been a long reading, but I don't know why I felt like going off on saying all of that. Again, highly recommend the book High Vibes, High Life, or Good Vibes, Good Life by Vex King. It's a really good one. I've just finished reading that one recently, and it's very relevant to this group. So I hope you enjoyed it, group number 5. If you did enjoy this reading, definitely don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I hope it helped you in some way. I hope it helped you reach your light and find your light. I'm sending you so much love, group number 5. You have amazing light within you that is waiting to come out. So sending you all my love. I hope you enjoyed this reading again. And definitely hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, because I would love to have you there. And hopefully I'll see you in my next one. Bye.